Oh, it turns out this guy, he really hates dogs, the creator.
Oh, damn.
The new level is just all dogs.
John
and you just kill 10,000 dogs.
John would buy that shit next day.
But for real, there should be dogs in that game.
Yeah.
Like, make them like hellhounds or something.
Yeah.
When are we going to kill a vampire? Apparently there's actually no vampires in the game.
Well, there's the boss in the library.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's one in there. He appears at the 25-minute mark.
At the 25-minute mark, I can't really see shit in that level.
You're just kind of moving, and like I hear gems.
Once I've maxed everything, I kind of just camp.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'll just stand here, and if things get hairy, then I'll run into the gems and immediately start leveling up again.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw gems when I closed my eyes last night to go to sleep.
Oh my god!
Like blue gems,
down bad,
being sucked towards a focal point in the middle.
Down bad.
Kind of like a reverse Starfield where it's all just closing in on the center.
That's very funny.
Because when you get that one that collects everything, the vacuum from everything off screen.
Yeah, that shit's real good.
Oh, Jesus. I bet that feels good.
Fucking, you level up like 3 or 4 times if you have a lot of shit all over. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Bet that feels real good.
I don't know what happens sometimes. You just get a bunch of experience and just get like 5 levels all at once.
I have no idea what was happening there. Like by the end of that run, I was like level 95 or something, and I'd like, and it was like all of that happened. Like the last 20 levels happened in the last 10 minutes somehow.
There's some like ultra gem that I just don't see where it's just like, oh yeah, this one gives you 5 levels because it's like ding, and then it's just instantly. You don't actually collect anything. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. So I'm like, ooh.
And I had pumped luck so far at that point.
Oh god. That
just like I was getting those left and right. We'll have to save this for the conversation for when you're doing a podcast.
Y'all can hear me, right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. And nothing of value was lost.
No, I mean, what are you going to talk about, really?
Really?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Really? Like, really, though?
Really? Who's bringing that one up, Brett?
Oh, that's yours.
Okay, I'll take it.
You know my other 2.
Okay. I got a thing that I did. I got a couple short games. So.
Cool.
I'll probably bring that up in the second half.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, lordy.
You said, are you ready? And I said, yes. And then I promptly unplugged and went and got some more books to put under my mic and a couple other things.
I expect, like no different from you, John.
There you go.
I just,
if you like Red said, expect the worst and you'll never be disappointed.
Exactly. Uh-oh. Somebody's here and they're ready for a rant. Oh, if he's here, she's ready for the FF9.
Oh,
she's ready
I forgot to put on the chat.
She's ready. God. She's ready for the tea.
Good.
Well, my poll has established that Final Fantasy Tactics is actually the best one post FF7.
That's good.
On
That's
PS1.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's righteous, I think.
Yeah.
Not by as far of a margin as I would have expected.
How much of that is spite voting? How much of that is spite voting? I think you were coming off of some hurt feelings at the start. So I'm thinking,
Okay, so final results. Final Fantasy Tactics, 47% of the vote. Final Fantasy 9, 28%. Final Fantasy 8, 23%. So kind of close between them. But then 9 won in this poll.
Yeah.
Oh, tragic. Oh.
Not wrong, but...
Highly, that's the fucking debate of the century. Like, I feel like you can really dig in deep on 8 versus 9.
I feel like I've laid out my position on that one of like, hey, 8 hurt me more because it was the big come down where 9 was like, even if it was exactly the same, it wasn't as big as a step backwards.
Yeah.
It could even be worse, but it wasn't like falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
I think Polly is deliberately stringing out, making us wait for the intro here to fuck with us. I think
it's not. It's not 6 o'clock.
No, I mean,
I guess you're right. It's not 5 o'clock yet.
One, it's not 6 o'clock, and why am I going to start the podcast with us talking about something that's going to be in the show already?
Good point.
I'm so bad at this. We've been doing this like 8 years.
We've been doing this 8 years come August, and you still don't know how, like, look. Yeah,
I'm just no, the show has started.
Look, cold opens are fun, but I don't want to sit here and go into a 10-minute cold open about a thing that somebody's going to talk about later.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I just want to get my position off before, because that's John's segment.
Sure. I mean, it still would have worked better if you'd have just held it for the segment, you ding dong. I think it's going to be time behind the scenes for some remedial podcasting lessons for some members of this round table. I'm not going to name anybody.
2 of them.
I'm not going to name anybody in particular. I will say that their names rhyme with Bon and Bet.
How long did I think it was Reet, by the way? I think it was like right up until we started the podcast.
No, dude, you were calling him a Reet in
On
like
the
a bunch of early episodes. I don't think that you made a correction until like 20 episodes in. And I say his name at the start of every episode.
Did you just not say anything, Red? I was just like,
everybody says
Holly's wrong.
Everybody says it that
Yes,
way,
obviously I would be the one that's wrong because the name is derived from ether.
Which is also pronounced wrong, so.
Yes.
How does that tell you? Oh, it's an anagram for ether, so it's pronounced red. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. It made sense to me the first time I saw it. Gosh, get up on your I versus Pi / Retiverse lore.
John hasn't watched I versus Pi. It makes me a little sad. If he has, though.
I think I watched the one you linked me, the one with the cool fight.
Big, stupid one.
The one where you stayed up until, what was it, 7 in the morning finishing that shit?
I did like the last third of it. Like, it took a month, but then the last third was like one night.
One whole night. I remember going to bed, waking up, and he's just like literally dying at the computer like, I'm about ready to push it out. I'm pushing it out and going to bed.
Really wanted it finished. It was taking too long.
Yeah. That's worth it. That was what, episode 100?
50.
Okay, it was 50.
150.
150.
150.
So cool.
150. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was a very early morning. And I'm not going to say how long ago it was, because we do so much of that on this show, and we always make ourselves feel stupid. We always make ourselves feel way older than we know we are. We're young at heart.
It usually doesn't make me feel that old.
Ju Nanasai. That's me.
That's about as old as that episode is.
Oh, God damn it! Welcome to episode 152 of the Sockscast. How's it going, everybody? We hope you're doing okay out there in whatever the fuck is going on land, wherever you happen to be. Sending lots of good vibes your way. Hopefully a few idiots sitting here for a couple hours on the internet talking about bad video games and the bad takes that they have about them will make you feel better. To my immediate virtual right, unto others he wishes death and pain. Speaking of good vibes, it's Rhett.
Hi. Hey, you said my name correctly. It just took 8 years.
How did I ever manage that?
Amazing.
It's amazing the things you can do when you actually fucking care about your friends.
Wow, we're just starting off with a vibe here.
Hey, it's a Rhett. Like now that I've got you here, now that I got your ear, I've been actually meaning to ask you something for a while. It's nothing personal, it's nothing weird or anything, but like every time we've like had a chance to voice chat, it's like, wait a minute, I can't get off the call and I just fucking forget to ask. So I'll just go ahead and do it here, and just ask you now. Figured, we're here now. We're having a chill. So can I ask you, like, are your nuts so big you can fart on them?
What?
That's such a good pause.
I mean, just genuinely curious. Are your nuts so big that you can fart on them?
Not really.
No. Okay. I mean, it's just genuinely curious. So.
Okay.
Sometimes
great.
you think, like, look,
I mean, it's not really. It doesn't really come down to size in that situation. It's more like the hangingness.
yeah,
Elasticity.
yeah.
The elasticity.
You
thereof.
got like
So
stretchy bag.
no,
Yeah.
You don't got stretchy bag?
not that far.
No. Okay. Okay. I mean, look. Some people sit around pondering what's the meaning of life.
Pondering orbs.
I sit around pondering orbs. You didn't let me get to it.
Can you pull your testicles back really far and then put one of them, just kind of tuck it in the butt?
Is that a serious question?
I mean, if you wanted to look, it's our podcast.
Well, I mean, if you
It can
can't
be-
fart on them,
it
you probably can't.
Yeah, I
if
mean,
you can't
yeah,
fart on them, I'm saying that's the next
That's
level.
That's
up from
even
that.
further. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the next level up from that.
Okay. Let's take it one layer deeper. If you could stretch your nuts
Two
back,
nuts.
if you could stretch your nuts back and like tuck it in your crack, would you fart on them?
No.
I think by necessity.
Like, I think you'd have to try. Like think about it. Like, there's a vibrating like a fart is just a vibrating of butt cheeks. Okay, it's just the cheeks smacking together. It's the whole kind of
If your balls are up there, they're holding the cheeks apart. Maybe you can't fart.
No, maybe.
That's
Okay.
not really what a fart is. So.
Well, Rhett, the fart is like that. That's what Polly's saying. Is the fart is the noise that happens from the two cheeks.
I mean, it's literally called
together.
silent but deadly with some farts.
Some of them.
In which case, okay, fair.
The fart is the gas releasing.
I think you're right. I think
Sound or not. If a tree farts in the forest, does it make a sound?
And can a tree fart on its own balls?
What does the Oxford Dictionary says? Fart is to, number one, emit gas from the anus, okay? And two, waste time on silly or trivial things. Well, that's just this podcast.
Well, we're farting right now, then.
We are literally just farting. We are stinking up the internet.
All over our balls.
We are farting on the internet's balls right now. This is not a good bit.
It's a great, you're right, Polly. It's a great bit. I think this is an all-timer. I feel great about this. I got nothing but good vibes now. I'm like, all right. Now everyone's we've got everybody hooked.
Now, like we pull them in with the discourse about. I want more people to think about that. Just like being able to pull your nuts back and fart on them. Or the people that are lucky enough.
I'm more interested in putting at least one ball in the anus. I think that's very impressive.
That would be an interesting thing.
I haven't heard anybody talk about that. Like, have you ever heard anybody say like, "Oh yeah, I feel," because like
this bit was funny, I think, and now it's gone too far.
All right, fine. I'll pull back.
Okay. To my immediate virtual left, he created the Elden Ring of RPG Maker games. It's John Thayer.
That's me.
Hey.
Topical.
I know, right? That's us. When you are the only video games podcast, what choice do you have other than being topical?
I got a nice video. Who was it? Let me get the exact name right. I'll mention it later.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was nice. I got a nice video that talked about facets and it was really sweet.
I think you gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it was an 8 out of 10 on the hype meter.
Yeah, the hype meter. Those hype meter ratings are serious business.
Yep, it was Jazz Stewart 3 on Twitter.
There you go.
And he also did say it was like a Souls-like RPG, so that did bring me a lot of joy. And it brought me in Strika a lot of joy because he specifically said if you take Cataphract Oi and Facets and polymerize them together like Yu-Gi-Oh, then you get a Souls-like, and then you basically get Elden Ring 2.
Yeah,
like we're ahead of the game here. Just what everybody's talking about. Yeah. Feels good.
Yeah, can't believe it that when you set out to make Facets, you were like, I'm making the Elden Ring. I'm gonna do it. Everybody's already made the Dark Souls of everything. I need to make the Elden Ring of something.
Absolutely.
Just that's so ambitious. I strive for that same kind of ambition myself.
It's what we can aspire to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what can I do other than aspire? I can perspire. Wordplay. It's a joke. It's sweating.
No, it was good because I was thinking the exact same thing, but you said it first.
Oh, okay. Good. We're all on the same page. Very good. This episode is off to a rollicking start. I believe that
we got some weird energy.
I think rollicking is the word that they would use to describe this episode of the show. We got that Sockscast episode 152 vibes going on this episode.
maybe off kilter. A little bit.
Maybe.
But that's okay.
We were talking about I versus Pi 150, and then you said, and now it's set time for episode 152, and I'm like, holy fuck, there's more of these.
There is. There's so many more.
Wow.
When we catch up to I versus Pi episodes, we gotta quit.
Well, that's very soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a fun run.
Has it?
No.
I'm sorry. That just...
Everything's so low energy. It's great.
I'm actually really excited.
Yeah,
I am too.
There's lots of good shit to talk about. Like,
I've got bangers, and John has game.
Prior to this episode, over the last 3 weeks, I came into this episode the most thinking, God, I ain't got really much of anything. And then the last few days, the last week or so, turned out to be eventful enough for me to have other things to talk about. So it's gonna be good. Who wants to kick this show in the ass and get it started? Who wants to fling this show's nuts up its ass?
Well, I've got a great start.
Well, all right, John. Why don't you go ahead and you get us going? Well,
I played a fucking great RPG. I finished it last week, and I really wanted to bring it up and talk about it with y'all.
Okay.
So I actually finished it yesterday, and I played a test copy of Chorus Piercing of Darkmoon Tower by Jetstone 4.
Nice.
And it was honestly just a fucking delight.
That game has been coming along for a while. You kind of just look at that game in development and know that it's going some good places.
It's literally he said, oh yeah, it's like a 45-minute platformer. And I was like, okay, I know that I'm going in. This is like a 2 to 3 hour RPG.
How'd that happen?
This was I don't know. I don't understand it. This is a massive thing that Tom made. It is a full ass action RPG. It has 6 bosses. It's got a bunch of different areas. It's it's meaty. I cannot believe Tom made a full ass Ease-like.
Oh dear. A horny East-like, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is also Tom's Arrow game. Tom has led 2 dreams, has made 2 dreams come true that I think basically everyone in our community has probably had at some point, which is to make a full action RPG. I don't know if any of us have done that.
I can tell you right now, I've not made a full action RPG, John.
Well, I kind of have, so
yeah.
It's literally called Press Space to Win Action RPG.
Excellent. True. So aside from Rat, Tom lived that dream. You run around on a grass field, and goblins come up and you hit them with your sword, and your number goes up. And at first it takes 3 hits to kill a goblin, and then you level up and then you kill them in 1 hit. And it feels so good, Polly. It feels so nice. I think it's probably going to feel a little hard for some friends. It felt really right to me, barring a couple little things he tweaked afterwards. There's just a couple points where I'm buckled down, okay, I'm gonna grind a little bit, and it took 5 minutes and grinded up a couple levels, and then it felt really good. I was immediately starting to beat enemies faster, and I hit max level right before the last dungeon, which felt really good because suddenly it's okay, we're at there's no more. I just have to get good now. I have everything.
Yeah,
it's a very cool feeling. It was just so much bigger than I expected. And all the art is fucking adorable. The writing is really cute. The sense of humor and tone are really, really on point throughout, I think, for this kind of game. So yeah, he lived the dream of making a fucking Ease-like, an action RPG, and it also lived the dream of making an Arrow platformer where you have like 25 discrete pieces of really gorgeous art.
Oh yeah,
one of those.
When the goblins take a lot of hits to kill, does something happen if you lose?
Oh, quite.
Yeah,
there's that.
Okay.
There's a lot of art. There's a lot of gorgeous one-off art, but there's specifically like 25 different game over animations. It's very choice.
Oh boy.
I felt like exactly the right density for me, where it's like not every single enemy has their own custom game over, because that gets exhausting. Like I've played games like that where it's like, okay, let's go into the level.
Like that would just get tedious.
Yeah, it does, like verifiably. Since I've played games like that, this is each area has a different game over, each boss has a different game over, and then a couple kind of custom situations that make themselves kind of present, that make themselves pretty obvious. I got every piece of art playing it, kind of being familiar with these sorts of games. I got every piece of art without having to go back and search for anything. So that felt really good. Just
the real collectible.
Yep. Yeah, the only valid RPG collectible. So I'm just blown away. This is my favorite Tom game. I really liked Silas and Fallen Star. I've liked all of his other stuff. I think this was it just came together in a really cool way for me. So I'm excited for it to come out and to get to share it with friends.
It's gonna be one of those things where it's just like, I like showing off my friends' games, but I don't know if I can stream that.
It's not unexplicit.
Yeah.
It mostly plays off of like implication.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
In like a fun, cute way.
Yeah.
I wonder how hard it would be to make a streamer mode.
Not too hard, I think. You just trim a couple things. He's putting content warnings for everything in the game on the page, so you'll be able to. Everyone can review nicely. But yeah, it's been really fun watching the Chorus OC evolve and now get this whole fleshed out game that just really expresses everything really nicely.
Yeah, I can remember far back as like a year and a half ago when this was starting to take shape and like the first screenshots were being posted. I remember this existing like without the frame, I think. Like I remember that's as early as I remember it. So that thing's got like its whole history. Like if you go to our Discord and you look in the game dev channel, you can find that game's entire history in there.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed. And also just having watched Tom's whole art style come together over the last like couple years.
Yeah.
Like just starting off, just like, okay, I'm getting back into this. I'm getting back into drawing. I'm going to make a bunch of posts. And now he's just at a point where like, if I had paid $10 for this on DL site, I would still be telling y'all about it and how much I enjoyed it. Like, but just $10 for it on DL site game by a stranger. I'd be like, hey, play this fucking thing. It rules. So I'm really pleased. I'm excited to get to share that. I played one other RPG.
Another banger, I'm sure.
There's another banger, yeah.
Yeah. I finished Final Fantasy IX.
Oh, did you finish Final Fantasy IX? I just heard all the ears perk up in the room.
I concluded it.
You concluded.
That's
a good sign. When you want to talk about when you want to talk about something on a podcast, and the first sound you make when going into the segment is, ooh,
and then opening up chat. Like, is there something else to talk about for a second? It's very funny because I've talked through this like so many times now with friends because I couldn't not think through this like exhaustively. Like it's the kind of bad where it gets like really stuck in your craw.
Yeah, like that. I know that feeling. Believe me. Like I've played many a game that'll get stuck in my craw, and it's like I can't let it go.
Because you're trying to find the way in.
Yeah.
It's your brain like recognizing that there's something there, and it's trying to find the way into the fun that everybody else is having. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like I tried a lot of angles with this. So the last time we talked on the podcast was like 3 weeks ago. I think I played up through disc 2. I think what I specifically said was I was giving it up until the end of disc 2 to hook me, because it was so charming and fun in a lot of ways, but the story just wasn't doing anything for me. And I was like, okay, disc 2 finale, that's going to be like sort of the equivalent to the disc 1 finale, because these are shorter discs because they have so many FMVs.
Yeah.
This will be when they really go hard and everything kind of hits, and they have the big transformative moment where like there's a major status quo change and everything kind of upends, and you have to figure out kind of the new way moving forward, and then you're kind of like, okay, I get what this game is doing now. And it didn't really do that.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm absolutely shocked.
Yeah, I mean, they go to the big tree and destroy the source of the mist and kill off one of the main villains from the first act, and it still is just like, well, okay. Like, all right.
Well, okay.
And then you progress a little bit further, and then they introduce Garland. Kuja comes back. So just like this whole game is just like, where's Kuja? We gotta find Kuja. Where is Kuja? We're going to this town. Is Kuja here? No, he's not here. Okay.
It's like
have you seen Kuja?
You feel that like in every scene where Kuja isn't, everybody should be standing around asking, where's Kuja? And then it literally is.
That is the driving thrust of the plot for most of the game, is just like Kuja manipulated the queen into destroying these 3 cities. And it was very bad. Nobody we know died, but we still feel bad about it. They were very pretty FMVs as the summons destroyed the town. So we it's very momentous. And we didn't see him do it, and he wasn't the one who like made the summon or anything, and we haven't fought him, and he hasn't done anything. But he's the big bad. You need to be very afraid of him. He's very important. Chase after Kuja. Gotta find Kuja. And he doesn't do anything until the disc 2 finale, in which he kills a villain who sucks. Another villain who sucks. It's like, all right, thanks, dude, I guess. And you like finally learn his motivation and like what he's doing and why he's doing it, like immediately before the final dungeon.
Oh my god.
There's that stretch of Final Fantasy VII where you're like, where's the man in the black cape? We gotta find the man in the black cape. Where's Sephiroth? And you go from town to town to town. It is the back half of disc 1.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, Eris dies, and immediately after that, he summons Meteor. And it's like, it's not the whole game. And also, at the beginning of that, you have the Nibelheim section, in which Sephiroth's motivations are pretty explicitly laid out. Yep. I would say somewhat famously so.
Oh, yeah.
Remembered.
A bit well regarded, that scene.
It is slightly well regarded. This is like if Sephiroth didn't do anything until like the end of disc 2 of Final Fantasy VII, and then you did all of Nibelheim, except it was like only an hour long and kind of rushed, and then you went right into the final dungeon.
And
Eris didn't die, and there's no meteor, and that was the story of Final Fantasy VII.
I remember
he kills all the Shinra guys. You don't participate. Now go ahead, Brett. Sorry.
I remember very little about the actual plot of this game, probably because there isn't much plot. But when you mentioned a thing at the end of disc 3 being extremely rushed, that just brought back this flood of memories of me being like, oh right, this game did piss me off at that one part where it just as soon as it got like interesting, let's just get that over with as soon as possible and go back to the status quo.
Just like immediately, all right, Zidane's fine. Never mind. Zidane realized that he was an alien and he was created as a puppet to bring about, basically destroy the planet. And then he's like, I'm not going to do that. And then he's like, I'm really sad. And then his friends come in and say, don't be sad, we're here. And then he's like, you're right. Okay.
Now I remember. This game is Dragon Ball Z, actually. Like literally this kid with the tail who was sent to destroy the Earth or whatever.
I feel like Dragon Ball Z has like more stakes.
Yeah. Oh, characters die. Even though they come back, they still die.
They do die, and also that you have villains who are scary and effective. Oh, so like, so there is a story here. There's a cool story. Kuja is a puppet himself. He was created to bring about this thing, and he finds out he's going to die, and he gets really pissed about it. Just like the Black Mages, just like Zidane, just like the Black Mages he creates. It ties into the stuff with Vivi. It ties into it's the core of the game. It's pretty neat, and it's just not all there. It's just a first draft of a good story.
Yeah.
They needed the time and resources to go back and flesh this stuff out and seed it throughout the rest of the game, and they did not have those resources.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII had a lot of time in the oven. You know, they had a good number of years there where they were able to kind of get things together and make all that work. And then 8 and 9 in particular came out pretty rapid fire. So.
I believe it.
I mean, they were definitely chasing that success.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because 7 was massive.
Yeah. 7 just... It still feels a little loosey-goosey, I think. Like, I remember getting back to the Midgar stuff at the end of 7, and it kind of feeling like, oh, shit, yeah, we have to wrap up all these Shinra threads, huh, don't we?
Yeah.
It's still very good, but it does feel a little bit like we were juggling a lot of stuff in this game, and we struggle a little bit to close it all out. But I think it holds together, and it holds together emotionally in a way that 8 and 9 don't, and I think it's just a consequence of them not having any real editing.
Yeah.
They did not go in with a script. They were making cool set pieces as they went along, and then cool FMVs, and then cool pretty backgrounds, and then they did not have the money because those cost a lot of money. They couldn't change them, so
you just wonder in their production pipeline, like, how early are they making locations as soon as they're in the script and stuff? And like you said, all the CGs, which were like the showpiece back then. Hey, we got CGs. Nintendo don't.
Nintendo don't.
A couple Tengu in the chat being like, they apparently cut a lot of stuff. Sounds like I dropped there for a second.
Okay, so they apparently cut a lot of stuff.
I don't understand why Aoko and Amaranth are in the game.
Oh yeah, they're just absolutely pretty terrible. Like, there's not a lot going on with them.
They just throw them in like end back half of disc 2. Like, what, you didn't have a good enough cast to develop already?
Like, Aiko could have been something. I mean, it's very clearly she was supposed to be because she's a summoner, and like you understand like why that would be important to Dagger's story, but just it's a nothing burger.
It's a nothing burger. Dagger's probably the most fleshed out character. I liked a lot of her stuff.
Yeah, I like Dagger.
I like Dagger. Vivi, like, he has a lot of nice scenes, but it doesn't come to like a big emotional culmination.
Like, it's a great. He's a great character. He's adorable. You want to give him a big old hug, but at the same, and he's got these sad scenes all over the place. But at the same time, it's just like it never adds up to anything that I feel is all that substantial.
If only they had maybe went for that ending a little harder.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not implied something that a lot of people missed.
Because I completely missed it. I completely missed the conclusion to Vivi's story. It's like, all right, this was a good gesture, y'all, but it would have been nice if it was in the game.
Yep.
It would have been nice if Kuja being redeemed was part of the actual like story and stakes of the finale instead of being something that happens in a 2-minute FMV after that is not after you've completed the interactable portion of the game.
Yeah.
And in that sequence, they don't play You're Not Alone. Which kills me. They don't bring that song back. They have this really good sequence with Zidane that's very nicely done, and then they don't bring that song back or do anything else with it. It hurts. It hurts my soul. So I'm talking exclusively about the story here. That's because it sucks to play.
Yeah. Oh no. I don't really. I don't have a lot of fond memories of that, of playing anything about that game and enjoying it.
because it's like they don't pause ATB while the animations are playing out like they do in 7.
That's real dumb.
So in practice, you're queuing everybody's actions up like 30 or 40 seconds before they actually play out in the combat. I would make a move, and then that character's move would like come up again, and I would have to remember, did I already queue up this heal I wanted them to do?
Oh my god.
Because 30 seconds ago, and then I would wait for the animations to play out so I would know if I'd gotten them to do that move already, because it had been so long since I'd actually told them to use the potion.
Yeah.
Like, it feels really bad. Haste doesn't matter. ATB speed doesn't matter. It would probably feel better if I played at lower ATB speed. I never thought to go back and set it to be slower.
I usually don't want to do an ATB game slower is the thing, typically.
No, I usually play it very fast.
I always put them, like all of the older Final Fantasies, I just go and put it on 1, which is the fastest.
Yeah. I slammed it up for 7, and 7 felt really snappy as a result. Even, I mean, the summon animations take a long time to play out.
Yeah.
But generally, 7 feels pretty snappy.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, if the fighting feels really bad. I like that it's hard. I like that the characters are differentiated. That's very nice coming off of 8.
Yeah.
Necron was a cool last boss mechanically. Like he's like all status effects. It's actually very scary because 9 has some mean status effects.
Oh god, yeah.
Like zombie hurts in this game.
That would be a trend that continues in 10.
Yep. So I hate the abilities. I hate micromanaging abilities after every fucking fight because you just learn a new ability. And it's like, well, I need to go and change this accessory, or any ATB I get until I do is going to be wasted.
Yeah.
Like if it had been like a currency, maybe?
Final Fantasy X has a similar tedium where characters don't get AP unless they did something in a battle. So it basically means that every random encounter you get into, you have to cycle through your entire party and get them all to try and do something. And
oh no!
But Final Fantasy X is at least fast. Like it's got a hot swap mechanic, like where everybody can like hop in and out really fast. So it's not that bad, but it's still kind of along that same line of tedium of like managing all this equipment with these worthless abilities. Like 90% of them I'm never going to use, but you got to do it because, you know, hey, the game, you might have to. I might need that 100% resistance to poison for one boss fight.
Oh, you do. You need all of those stupid. Like half of them are status effects resistance.
It's all the status effect stuff. Like if it's got a status effect,
it's pretty good to have those for.
Yeah,
pretty good to have those for Necron. His Grand Cross's ultimate move is just like, I'm gonna give you every status effect.
I think Sephiroth has a similar one in Final Fantasy VII called Pale Horse or something. I think.
Yeah, it's rough in there too. It's always rough. It's great. So the bosses are pretty tough. I use fast forward grinded for like the equivalent to like a couple hours before the final dungeon because I did not want to get roadblocked at the end of that dungeon.
Yeah.
And I just barely scraped by against Necron and it felt really good. I spent like half the last boss fight with like 2 characters dead. Just like,
that's always a good feeling. That's a good feel. That's a good feel.
So like Memoria is really pretty, but is also just completely a straight line.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a running thread with a lot of later Square, but I felt it here just because there's very little in the way of like dungeon here. So, and which was like fine in 7 because 7 was, you know, like a good story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel like 9 is a follow up to the SNES games in the ways that matter. I think it is
it's very surface level in that regard.
Yeah. It's a lot of reference.
Yeah, 4 crystals. Oh man, we're doing it. We're making it old school.
They don't even have crystal. Oh, they do actually have the crystals. They have and then they have the final crystal at the end. Literally the last dungeon at the very end. They're like, and now we're going to see the original crystal, the crystal that's the root of all other crystals, and they play the prelude theme throughout the final area, and I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like, this is
nothing.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's just like,
this will truly be our Final Fantasy.
This will truly be our Final Fantasy. I felt like the extreme at the final boss theme in 8 playing the da 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 at the beginning was like more series culmination feeling than anything at the end of 9.
Yeah.
Like that felt legitimately really cool. And it because it wasn't so fucking contrived.
Yeah.
I just like there's no part of this that I can point to and be like, well, at least that makes it worth it.
At
least this was the good
how
part.
It went. I forgot how it went. I was like, maybe the Vivi storyline will end well for him. Maybe that'll end. That'll be the thread. And then nope.
I was literally like, I just want this game. I will be happy if Vivi makes me cry. That's all I want. and I didn't get that.
They fucked it up.
Like the number, as Tango says, at least the cutscenes are pretty. And I'm just like, yeah, the number one thing this game has going for it is its impeccable production values.
Yeah.
It was pretty in 1999 standards.
And still pretty, because that's not a style because that's still a style you don't see a lot of, and it's gorgeous. Yeah. That's not typically the Sockscast number one quality here. It's like, well, you gotta play this because it's very, very expensive
pretty.
Looking.
Like I would maybe behind the frame. It's very pretty, but it's also got so much more going for it. But it's a similar situation where I would tell
Puppeteer.
Yeah. Puppeteer.
Yeah, Tom says, I think Chrono Cross and Vagrant Story look better. I do not think it's like the best looking Square game. I just think it is like one of the most expensive looking
it's very
early Square games.
It's very expensive in that regard.
Expensive looking.
Like that is the number one thing it has going for it, and that's rough. I think it has a lot of nice theming. I think the life death puppet stuff, I think the stuff with Vivi and ultimately Kuja and everything basically works. But like good theming isn't a good story. Yeah. You have to care about the characters.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem with that game.
Yeah.
Don't really care about many of them.
Yeah. Like Tales of Vesperia, I feel a little more warmly about it in comparison now, because like the charm of that cast and the nice little what the hell? Sorry, I usually put on silent. The charm of that cast and the nice theming successfully carried me through the end of Tales of Vesperia, and I ended the game with a smile on my face.
Yeah,
I was just like kind of trudging through the last chunk here, just like, all right, gonna get it done. I waited 2 weeks so I could play it without getting mad, and now I'm gonna take 2 days, play it constantly, and be done with this. And then I was
still kind of mad sounding.
Still a little mad, but I wasn't. It was like making me like depressed. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was just like dead on my feet playing this game.
Yeah, I've played a few games like that, and I unfortunately like went through with it and still finished them, and it was miserable. You can't play a game like that. Even if you're not enjoying it, even if you think you're not going to come out the other end enjoying it much, you can't put yourself through that.
Yeah, no, I gave myself 2 or 3 weeks, and when I came back to it, I was like, okay, I'm good to play this now. It's not going to be, it wasn't unhealthy anymore. It's just a bad game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a disaster. I don't think it's like, it's better than Suikoden.
I mean, it's probably better. It's probably better than Legend of Dragoon.
You said that right as Tom posted in our chat about Legend of Dragoon. I think FF8 it's still got enough of that kind of Final Fantasy set piece gumption that you're at least like entertained by the pretty lights flashing in front of you in a way that some games can't do. Mm-hmm. Which carried me through a lot of 8 too, but this ain't for me.
Nah,
this ain't the Final Fantasy I want personally. So that was my 9 journey, and I remember having a moment where I was like, "There's no thread I can post. There's no podcast segment that'll give me the catharsis I'm after."
No,
and even now I'm ending it like, well, that was it.
It's just literally the ending of American Psycho.
Rhett, what have you been up to?
I completed a JRPG as well.
Yeah?
Going to speak a little bit more positively on this one.
Yay!
I finished Trails of Cold Steel 2 after just fucking blitzing through it only a few weeks after finishing the first one.
This game, like Cold Steel 2, I love it.
Oh
but
my God.
It felt enormous to me. It took me a while. And you crammed in like the last half of this game in like a week.
It's like going to a buffet and saying, I want all of it. I can eat. I wanted every drop.
Oh my God. You were just wringing every bit that you could get out of that thing.
And then I had that big 3-day weekend to finish it. It was like, okay, I'm definitely finishing it this weekend.
That was my favorite part. Definitely finishing it this weekend. Definitely Sunday not finishing it this weekend.
Well, no. Sunday, I had Monday off work because it was President's Day. So Sunday night, you know where I was. I was finishing the game, and then game said,
I'm not done yet.
And I said, okay, I'm finishing it tomorrow. And even that was close.
That was kind of pretty close.
I did do it, but it was late. It was like 2 a.m. Monday or something. Technically Tuesday at that point.
Yeah. So how'd it treat you? How'd it treat you?
Very, very fucking well. So I'm not going to play it right away. Mm-hmm. But I have purchased Cold Steel 3.
Nice.
Just because, it has a very good sale on Humble right now, and I have like an additional discount there to put a few bucks off. Yeah. So, Cold Steel 3 for when I'm ready. But then I'm going to need 4, and that one's going to be... Because this game, it does set you off in a very good place, like you had said. I was surprised how much this game wrapped up at the end, where it almost felt like...
You could call that the end of the series in a way.
Yeah, where if this was not sequeled by a game called Cold Steel 3, like, it would have felt fine. Like, if the next game was just, new characters, new cast, like... It felt like they kind of tentatively closed the door on this cast for now. Mm-hmm. But then the next 2 games are Cold Steel 3 and 4, so I know that a lot of the...
And I believe that was done. I believe that was done because, first of all, Cold Steel 1 and 2 were conceived as one game again.
Yeah.
And since they were getting ready to jump, like, console generations, they wanted to go ahead and have, like, a solid endpoint for people not being able to immediately upgrade so that you don't feel too left out when 3 comes out. But I know that was sort of a part of it, is that generational switch that they had to make.
They could have just called it Cold Steel First Chapter, Cold Steel Second Chapter.
They really could have.
Like, even more so than the first 2 Trails in the Sky games, that these are 2 halves of a whole.
Yeah.
Because, boy, does that first game put you off at a weird end point.
Oh, boy. And then the way they, and that lets Cold Steel 2 hit the ground running.
So story-wise, this one just hits the ground running and does not stop. It is like sprint mode the whole time.
Yeah. It's very unusual that these games kind of hit the ground running like that. So when they do, that shit's real serious.
I knew that this one kind of had to after Cold Steel spent like 90% of itself being extremely slow.
Yeah.
Like it's a roller coaster basically, and the first game is just going uphill the entire time. And then right at the end you do hit that first decline, and then the game ends, and then the whole second game is the entire rest of the roller coaster.
Yeah.
But I cannot overstate how much that first game is build up and extremely slow.
Yeah. You gotta be there for the world and character building. You've like they are very clearly wanting you to invest in these characters' relationships. They want you to feel a part of that class. They want those bonds between these characters to feel very real. And that could be a detriment.
Yeah. It's a very slow game, even knowing and having played First Chapter and Zero, that I think this one is even slower, but I'm not here to kind of rehash that one.
No.
I do think in 2, the world feels a little smaller when you get access to travel, basically, because
you can just skip all the maps at that point.
Because there's moments in the first game whenever you go somewhere on a field study, the characters always travel by train.
Yeah.
So they're making these out, and they're even giving like exact times, like, oh, it's going to take us 3 hours to get here. Mm-hmm. So it feels a little silly in 2 when you can just walk on the highway between places and it's like 4 screens away.
Yeah, yeah. That massive 4-hour journey turns out was only 4 screens long.
Like, they're big maps compared for how these games tend to go, but then even turbo mode makes it even worse. So just, the sprint button is like, oh, yeah, this felt like this big, massive place, and now it feels very similar to Crossbell or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And
so,
I think
like,
that's
the
just
world
by nature, like making things easier. It's quality of life stuff. I get it. I appreciate it.
It's cool having everything connect, but it did feel like, oh, everything was so big before that you had to travel by train and now you don't. Yeah. Is a little silly. So the story, it gives you what you want. Like, no complaints there, obviously. Mm-hmm. What I kind of wasn't expecting was how good of a video game this also is to play.
Hell yeah.
Because there's a part in this game, the part Polly said is like, oh yeah, people kind of call this part busy work. Whereas for me, it was like, oh my God, they kind of gamified this a little bit, made it a bit open world. Mm-hmm, There's a whole bunch of places to explore and things to collect. Mm-hmm. And it just hit that itch in my brain of like numbers going up. It was
numbers going up, but it was also like, how important is like the scenario they're setting up for you? How important is that to you? You're going to go collect all that shit.
You're going to do everything.
You're doing it all, baby.
So it was fun just having the game be a little hands-off and less guided and being like, hey, there's just a lot of stuff out there. Go do it now.
Yeah.
I really like that section in SC where it's just like, okay, we're going to walk around the whole world.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it feels like it's culminating as a place.
Yeah.
In addition to culminating as a story and as a game.
This one was kind of like, oh, you've been everywhere now, so it's all open, and you can just go wherever right now, and just there's new events everywhere. The combat isn't as broken as it got for me in the first game. It's still pretty broken, maybe right at the end.
Yeah,
it's wild though. So in the first game, my tactic was give Fi the get CP back when you kill an enemy gem.
Yeah.
And then just have her S-craft, get the necessary CP back, and then S-craft again. Mm-hmm. And that was just every random battle, and it got a little boring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This game, that specific combo is nerfed, so you can't break the game in the same way. But it felt like they give you so many other good tools that every character can be a little broken, and then you're just kind of rotating between them in every fight.
Yeah, like there are so many ways to break that game because everybody's good.
Yeah, there's that one combo that me and Iffy figured out for like.
Oh yeah,
melee. So they introduce a few gems that have like damage multipliers, and then you can, if you stack those in a specific way,
you can hit 6 digits very easily.
I think me and Iffy were definitely talking about like hitting 300k damage in a single hit on bosses that have like 275.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very specific setup. Like, you can't do it immediately. You have to buff a bit before actually attacking. But I really liked Punchy Girl in this game.
Oh God, Laura's so good.
For just putting everything into one hit and then nearly one-shotting a lot of bosses. So that was a little broken, but random battles weren't as bad. It almost felt like the Musou of JRPGs.
Yeah, in a way, I can see that.
Where, like, because you're rotating characters, because, like, everybody's, gaining CP, and you've got the mage characters also. I used a lot more magic in this one. There's a spell that's, like, it costs a lot, but it gives you an immediate 2 turns afterwards. So you can use it, then cast a big AoE, and then the AoE will come out instantly as the second turn.
Yep.
So if she gets her turn, she just wins the fight.
Yeah, donezo.
And then you run around on the field to get that mana back, using the gem that restores when you walk around, and then so she can just win every fight. But because she's really slow, like I was so offensive in this game. My main party for most of it was like 3 melee characters and a magic offensive. Like, I didn't have a healer. I didn't have a healer until the final boss, in which case, Also, I didn't use Reen. Like,
that's funny to me because he is so utterly broken.
Like, he has this one special ability
Gale is so stupidly busted that
I don't even know which one that is.
He bounces between 4 enemies.
And right.
And that was good. And you can like you can farm so much CP back with that shit.
Yeah, I'm sure. I had my party that I liked. It is funny when it's like, oh, you have to bring Reen and you have to bring, 1 or 2 other characters in each chapter, but then you can stick all of them in the back row and just use who you want for the front row. But then there are a few points where you need to use everybody.
Yeah?
And I got into a little trouble at those points. The first one, the trouble was that I took it seriously and spent like all of my money equipping everybody.
Oh.
And then that fight, it was one fight with like the B tier characters that I won almost instantly. And then the fight with my main party, I did the big 200k hit and just won on the first turn. It was just like, oh, I like spent half an hour preparing for this. And then there was a fight near the end that was like, I can't beat this.
Oh, no.
It was the, like, take 5 or 6 tries to figure out the combo that's going to work for me because they didn't give you a save point right before it. So it's like, it's 2 bosses into a marathon.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I really want to beat this. I really want to beat this game on Saturday night or Sunday night. So I did eventually just figure it out, but it was a good difficulty spike right at the end to make me be like, hey,
and it's a difficulty spike that feels earned because like the boss that you're fighting there is just like, oh god, yeah, that needs to be hard.
I mean, that's how these games go, Fate of the Universe JRPG stuff. But also, hey, Class 7 has more than just girls in it. Maybe level everybody up a little bit, dude. No, okay.
It's like when After 5 got to the end of 3rd, and he had a big moment.
Oh, okay.
It was real funny. It was funny as a viewer. I don't think he was enjoying that too much, though.
I remember DMing y'all specifically like, I don't know if the game is going to reward me for this, but I just love this cast so much. I'm just going to go to the Abyss. I'm just going to go to the Abyss and level up everybody and get everybody nicely equipped so that I feel good about it. Yeah. And so I can say goodbye to them. And then I got to the last dungeon and I was like, yes!
Redeemed!
That game has a ridiculous amount of characters.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Cold Steel's going to get there. Because they have ways in the story of this one of being like, hey, it's the Class 7 game.
Yeah.
You should be using them and not just the girls. But so yeah, very good playing JRPG, which I mean, again, it's like, how many of these are there now? There's
like 10.
This is game 7.
This is game 7 for me.
Yes.
It's like that combat system, as kind of broken as it feels like it's become, where like the way I think about the final boss in this versus like the final boss of Azure is like, oh, I had to be very thoughtful and tactical for Azure. And in this one, it's like, I mash damage numbers, big, shiny 200k hits. Yeah. It's very...
And it's a real nice font too, so those numbers look real good popping out.
Yeah.
Trails of Neptunia.
Yeah, basically.
Actually, so funny that I forgot about this. A lot of bosses heal in this one.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they heal and get a gigantic buff.
Oh my god! Fuck yes, because they do that in FC, and then they never do it again.
Yeah. Oh, weird.
In the first 4 games. So
this is a thing that is just. That's the series now. Every game from now on basically is like, hey, like a lot of major bosses, they're gonna do some real ugly shit to you when you hit certain HP thresholds.
Well, it sounds like it's the only way to keep up with all the shit
like,
you can do.
They gotta do something.
I was totally fine with a boss being like, oh, you're going to do that? Well, fuck you. I'm going to heal like 80% of that damage right back. So like there was one boss in the mid game that was like, as soon as it hit a certain damage threshold, would just heal a ton of that back and get strength up and defense up. So my whole like kill him in nearly one shot immediately triggered that, and so they just popped right back up to full health. I'm just like, yeah, it was like I had them in a stun lock, and I thought if I had everybody S-craft, they would die, and then they didn't die.
Cold Steel 3 did a thing to me for a tutorial boss where I did that, and then because it has a tutorial to show you, like even if you go all out and just try to obliterate with an S-craft, if the S-craft will kill the boss, it'll just do 1 HP, so the boss can tutorialize its stupid mechanic.
That's very funny.
I'm so mad.
So in the specific fight, though, it's the only time I used like the back row characters were like. Everybody was, because I had no healer. I just didn't have adequate healing. So I'm just like, okay, these two characters are screwed and they're out of CP. I'm actually going to bring in Reen.
Dang.
So I brought in Reen and I brought in Elisa. And so I had those two characters kind of at good status, and it was just barely able to actually finish the boss off and win that fight. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So it's fun when the game pushes back against your bullshit, because you can pull off a lot of bullshit.
Yeah. Like when you have characters that have move kits that are just as ridiculous as Cold Steel's are, and they do a decent job of balancing the game around that, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then, of course, the story stuff that just goes completely off the chain at the end for several hours.
When you're sitting there at 4 a.m. and Cold Steel 2 is... going crazy.
Still going.
Yeah, it's still going wild. Yeah, you're screaming at the monitor because Cold Steel 2 will not stop being Cold Steel 2.
Yeah. That said, it kind of pops off in a very different way than Azure did. I think that's still probably my favorite one, but this one gave me more of what I wanted, even when I didn't know that's what I wanted.
That's sort of the weird thing with these games, is that it's like, okay, I'm expecting them to be ridiculously good, but then they are good in a way you don't expect them to be good.
Yeah. You're always caught off guard.
You think after enough games that would wear off.
There is a lot of this one that feels like it's hitting similar beats of the Falcom journey, like. Part of the climax is very, very similar to Azure, especially when they're literally talking about what's happening in Crossbell at the time.
Yeah, well,
because these games are so interconnected, like to a crazy degree. I would say play the Crossbell games first, because they literally
as much as people try to tell you not to, or that it doesn't matter, it's information that you need.
Yeah, and just the way these games can be way more explicit in the writing, because the other games are written and finished, whereas like they were making much vaguer allusions in Crossbell to what was happening in Erebonia.
Yeah.
That's
Man. So this isn't my favorite one. I would probably actually put it below Third and Azure, but that's some good company, I think.
Oh yeah,
that's like I finished Third and I was like, they're never going to top this. So like the fact that these other kind of finales are like approaching that level of resonance or even getting better for you, I think is really dope. I think that's really nice.
I think maybe because it's kind of the third go around where I was able to accept some of the contrivances they do of like, hey, all these boss characters you're setting up over the entire game, they're going to fight you one by one in the final tower.
Welcome to the tournament ladder. Let's go.
It's just, they just are so predictable on certain beats where it's just like, I can't kind of groan at it anymore, where it's like, what did you fucking expect? Like, there are certain tropes that there are just certain tropes where they're gonna follow.
Yeah.
Like every last dungeon is the Falcom dungeon.
The Falcom dungeon.
Yeah.
It's they're gonna do what they're gonna do in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Like last year I finished Trails from Zero and I finished E7, and both of them are kind of like, yep.
Like, this is a very similar type of dungeon style, like a similar
so good,
setup.
though.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so good, though.
It's great.
A character in this game literally says, "Now this is what I call a final dungeon," and
it's such a good set. It's like it's such a Neptunia moment, and especially since it's a character that I feel could basically be in a Neptunia game.
She fucking is Neptune practically.
Basically, yeah. She has that similar vibe going.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's funny. I fucking love Falcom.
They're an interesting company.
I mean, yeah, like you said, they do in many respects they make the same thing over and over, but also it's a very good thing.
Yeah.
And the little tweaks every time.
Yeah.
There's always something where they catch you off guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, because you're so expecting the predictable stuff, when they catch you off guard, it seems to hit so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I mentioned E7, and that's like one of the most almost rote feeling ones, and even that one still has like
that moment there's some really choice character moments near
some
the end
extremely
of that
choice
game.
character moment, an extremely out of left field dope final boss.
Yeah.
There's still parts of that game that stick with me in a really meaty way, and that's just kind of the Falcom oeuvre.
Yeah.
Love them. Spoils you on other RPGs.
It really does.
Might have enjoyed.
It really does. That Falcom come down is really hard to deal with. It's hard to go back to other RPGs when you finish one.
It's hard to be like, oh yeah, not all of these have good writing.
Boy, the come down after this one was fucking rough for me.
Oh, poor Rhett.
It was just like, oh, I have nothing else to do now.
Oh.
Poor Rhett.
That's when you start another RPG.
There you go.
Well, what if that RPG didn't come out for 3 more days? You have to fucking figure out what to do for a whole 3 days. Losing your mind.
How do you cover a whole 3 days? Our poor baby Rhett. Life is so hard for you sometimes.
I was literally losing my mind waiting for Elden Ring.
God, that's funny.
The timing just didn't quite line up. I finished Cold Steel 2 too quickly.
Could have waited and not stayed up until 2, but then what? Were you going to not stay up until 2 a.m. that last night?
There you go.
You mean multiple nights in a row, and also 6 a.m., not 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about your schedule.
Me, who's DMing both of you at 6 a.m. like, hey, what's up? I heard you just got up.
That was funny. A couple times when I woke, like on Friday night when I woke up at 2:30, Saturday night when I woke up at 2:30 a.m. Like, hey, Red. Oh, this isn't usual time. This isn't usual John time. I wondered where you went earlier.
So Polly.
Yeah.
Have you been doing anything?
I did. I did a couple things. I made a video game. I made a video game in 5 days, and I don't know how I did it. It was for those that don't know, I released ASDF. It'll be a couple weeks ago this coming Tuesday. It's a very simple game that, like, the rules are very simple. It's just you move a paddle with the A, S, D, and F keys. It moves the paddle to a lane, and you got a row of smiley faces come down. You got with 3 red and then 1 blue, and your object is to catch the blue one. And I was just sitting there one day and was like that. Yeah, that was the whole idea that popped into my head. It was just like, I don't know, I'll make that, and then it was just like, but that's such a stupid idea. Like, what kind of game is there in this? Like, it's like, oh wow, I press a button and I catch a stupid thing. Like, what's the point? Like, what am I doing here? Like, you know, like there's nothing I can do.
But
is that not all video games?
Maybe, I don't know. But it's just like, I couldn't. For a couple hours, I just sat there. I couldn't justify it. Like, it was just like, why would I make this? And even then, while I was sitting down, I opened Game Maker and I started coding things and putting things in. It was just like, what is this? Like, why am I doing this? Like, this is just like, so you get the paddle on screen, you move it around. It's like, that's not very exciting. So it's like, okay, I'll make it glow when it moves to the next lane. Okay, that's okay. But ultimately, what's happening here? And it's like, so originally it started where, like, it would just be like a game where you caught the blue smileys, and that would just be it. The concept of red smileys wasn't there until I was like, okay, what if, like, we made ones that you can't catch, and if you miss the blue ones, you lose too. And I played around with that, and I think that like that's sort of the rough prototype that I got together and I sent to John that night, and I was just like, is this anything? This feels like nothing to me. I don't know that there's anything here. And John kind of like batted some real simple ideas to me that was mostly just like on how to make it look exciting. It was mostly just presentation stuff. About like the background changing colors, maybe putting some shapes in the background, or like the translucent things going on in the background to make it look interesting. So started working on that more and more over the course of a couple days, and suddenly like it starts feeling a little better. Like, okay, here's an idea. And I still just kind of wasn't liking the idea that would like it kind of built up to being 4 smileys at a time. Like it would just be like, you know, for like the first 10 you would only have to catch 1 and there was nothing to avoid, and then there would be like 10 more, and it would add the red, and you would start getting your red ones every now and again, and then like, this doesn't feel right. So I decided to just like escalate it to, it's just always a row of smileys and you have to pick the right one as they come down. And then the whole idea is just like, oh, it's just going to get faster until the point to where you just get overwhelmed. And you know, you just got to kind of fucking go with it. And so I get that together. And that okay, now it's starting to feel more like a game. Like there's something here. I'm still not 100% convinced on it. This is like day 2, I think, where I was still like, I'm still not sure if this is anything I'm going to release because I'm not sure I see the value in it. And so the Sunday night, I was just like, wait a minute. I know people that make music, and I don't know how this game sounds. This game doesn't have an identity yet, despite the fact that it's got a visual identity. And by this time, I had kind of like spruced it up. Like the smileys were like strobing now, and there were shapes bouncing around in the background. It was looking more and more like a game. But what really sold it was just like I got a wild hair up my ass, and I was like, I'm gonna talk to June. If there's somebody I know that like can like do things in a way that's gonna like maybe it's gonna catch me off guard. So I just gave June a couple of ideas. I don't even know that I gave June a reference track to work with. I was just like, what does this game say to you? And I just let them work the way that they wanted to work. And an hour later, they get back to me with the theme that we used in the game. And when I put that in the game, suddenly it just all clicked. It all made sense. I knew exactly the things that I needed to change to make it work better. I knew the right balance that I needed to approach it with. And the final piece of magic came like maybe 24 hours before the game was released. It almost released without this feature, the key feature, the feature that I think makes the game is I added a bomb. That like when you use it, it blows up any smileys that are on the board, and it lowers the difficulty by 40%. So it's essentially like it's a way out. Like, oh, I can keep my run going. It's a save. It's like, okay. So when I put that in and started throwing it around to people, that's when everything clicked. That like when I started test playing it by myself and was like, oh shit, I died with the bomb. That's the worst feeling in the world. So like that was kind of like that whole journey of that game coming together. From this thing that like I was just convinced was like, yeah, it's like a cute thing, but it's not really a game that like feels like substantial or meaty in any way. And then like when it started coming together those last couple days with like the music and then like that last idea for like the bomb, it was just like, oh, there it is. Like this game now has a feel. It's got a good gameplay loop to it. It's easy to come back to. It's easy to get addicted and want to do just one more run. And I never thought I would be able to make a game like that, because I've always really admired score attack games. I've always admired really short like Toby does these amazing like literally like 10 to 15 second games that can last up to minutes just depending on your skill level. And like I never thought I'd be able to make anything even resembling that. Now I finally did, and it feels really good. People seem to enjoy it.
Absolutely, you had so many people.
A lot of score chasers.
Scores.
So many score chasers. When I was beta testing this thing myself, like I obviously had to be able to play it on the highest settings to make sure nothing would break, to make sure that like to make sure the hit detection doesn't break on the paddle when things are going too fast, because that's a thing. Like, you have to kind of, like, make sure, like, what's the absolute limit I can hit with this without it breaking? And I had to get those numbers down and then play the game. And I was like, I told myself that the only way I will make this the actual, like, final progression of the game is if I can last for 10 seconds. And I had to do that one. And I managed to do that once. And I was like, fuck it. That's the game. There it is. That's the final progression. Yeah. And then the fact that there are people that are posting scores in the million, you know, over 1 million, means that there are people that were playing at that level for a significant amount of time. And that breaks my head.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's so good. That's so choice, Polly.
And, like, something else Ghosty mentioned that it sort of reminded her of, and I'd never thought about it, but, like, I always kind of had, like, an admiration for these types of games, too, is there's, like, little Tiger LCD games that are, or Game & Watch, where it's, like, it's this little game with very simple rules that's score-based, and you do a very simple thing, and it's like, yeah, like, I finally kind of did do something in that vein, didn't I? Holy shit. And it felt really good when I got to think about it afterward and be like, oh shit, I actually knocked down a lot of things that I wanted to with this game, despite the fact that it's so simple. And despite the fact that it you know, like, I was going to just throw this away. This was destined to rot on my hard drive. Like if I had not shown it to John and he had not given me the feedback that he did, I don't know that I would have released this. I think it would have just sat there. So yeah, like, source your friends for advice on your ideas, because sometimes that'll be the thing that gets you going in the right direction. Because even though it still took me a while to find the way that I wanted to go with this game and to find the feel for it, the things that John suggested were sort of like what gave me the vision to be able to kind of put it together, like, because it was just like a black screen with, like, red and blue smileys and a white paddle and ASDF. Like, that was it. It was very simple. It was very prototypey, but it was also just like, it's kind of just an arcade game, really. But when I started adding all the flourish to it and it started finding its identity, I was able to sort of feel the rhythm of the game more and understand how I wanted it to feel. And, like, that felt really cool coming together, being conscious of it, and just, like, I don't know how I keep accidentally making good video games, I guess, is the long and short of it.
Well, I got such a big fucking...
You source it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I've got such a big fucking smile on my face. That makes me so happy to playing a part in this kind of process.
Yeah, like, if I had not, like, because I wasn't going to show it to anybody, and I was just like, because me and John had just watched a movie, and we were just getting ready to sign off, and I was just like, John, I just want to show you something. Let me get this, like, I don't know why. I just couldn't let it go, but I was like, do you see anything here? And then, despite the fact they didn't really say much about it game-wise, what, you know, like, the presentation stuff is really kind of what helped me lock in the vibe and how the game would progress.
Because I felt like the game part of it was already, like, pretty much there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, thank you, Martin Scorsese. Yeah. The Last Temptation of Christ. The Last Temptation of Christ is still a very good movie.
Yep, still very good. Well, I got to find out for the first time. Very good movie.
Yeah.
Cool. Polly, this was really delightful to watch come together. It was really, and just very warm and inspiring. I really think that having the creative mode of, like, I'm just going to make something and get it out kind of quick. I'm just kind of, I have this little idea. I'm just going to flush it out, show it to a couple friends, fill it in a little bit, and then release it. I think that's just such a cool perspective, and it's such a vibrant thing to be able to do in games that so many people are not. That it just, like, so much of games are just like these extremely labored over years in the making projects, and it's just not, that's just not what games necessarily need to be.
Yeah, like I always, like, want like me creating games, because look, I'm not a super genius coder. Like, John's seen my code. It's pretty fucking patchwork. My games operate almost exclusively on if statements. And they work. So you know what that means? That means you can go out there and make cool video games too. It's
10,000%.
It's not that hard. It's hard, don't get me wrong, But it's not that hard to start getting your ideas out there if you want to. And like, I can put a cool game like this together in 5 days. Like, that's pretty awesome.
It feels really good. It's just really cool and thrilling. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just... I was just very moved watching this come together. It made me very happy.
Yeah, like this one is just, it's so wild.
I unhid some games I hid from my itch page because I was like, no, I don't need to filter. I'm not curating anything. This is just games I'm making, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
There you go. Let the creativity flow.
Yep.
So yeah, if you want to play a fun little...
Yep, I posted it in chat.
Yeah, if you want to play a fun little score attack game that'll make your eyes glaze over afterward. You feel a little weird afterward, maybe. Check out ASDF.
Make you feel old.
What?
Make you feel old because your reaction time is shit.
Yeah, it'll make you feel old because your reaction time is shit. Also, if you're on a 144 hertz monitor, crank that down to 60 because for some reason, Game Maker games, they run at your refresh rate. So a lot of people that played the game, they were noticing their scores were significantly lower than other people's. And this is not a thing that I know how to fix. And I don't know if anything exists in Game Maker to fix it. So if you get ASDF and you've got a monitor whose refresh rate is over 60, bump that down to 60 to play ASDF, and you'll be playing the right version of the game.
God, that's fucking funny. Game Maker is just the gift that keeps on giving.
I've had so many weird things between this and the Luigi game, and then and then Downwell. So many things where it was just like, what is going on? Why is this? What even is Game Maker?
Well, they saw the issues you had with Luigi where the game was running too slow, so they said, okay, we'll fix that. Now it's running too fast. I want to see Luigi at 144.
That would be pretty... The thing is, it doesn't do that with the Luigi game for some reason.
Oh,
somebody tried it. Like, Beepner tried Luigi game. It's the same damn engine, same damn version, and Beepner is the one that had the issue with 144 hertz. So he played Luigi game, and it plays exactly the way it should. So I don't know why ASDF is the one that's getting hung up on 144 hertz. This is the last game you want to be playing at 144 hertz.
Yeah. It just starts at the highest speed, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a game that we'll be seeing some kind of follow-up in the future because it's been requested. I'm not jumping on it immediately. I'm going to let it sit because I don't know if I want to improve on the idea and change the way a couple of things work, or just kind of make the straight sequel that I think people want. But I know that like
Polly's just like, well, I don't. I need to live according to my creative ideal. I can't just make the hack sequel the masses are clamoring for.
Yeah, like I've had a bunch of people.
Beautiful.
I've had a bunch of people mention the way that they thought that game was gonna go, or what they thought would. It's like that. Believe me, it was already in my head. I just didn't do it. So yeah.
The sequel will be called QWERTY.
No, it'll be called Fart. You just type. You got to use the word. You got to type it. That would be. Imagine how fucked up that would be.
That would be hard.
Column 1 is F, column 2 is A, column 3 is R, and column 4 is T. And if you did, like that would mess you up so much trying to play. Like I should have saved that for an April Fool's gag.
Fuck.
It's already out there now. It's already out there now. I mean, it's an easy thing to make. I could still make it, but now I've just ruined it. And I change all the sound effects to farts. Go ask June to put a bunch of farts in the music. See,
this game was fucking magical.
Mousy Cakes in chat is a kindred spirit because she loves farts too. So I think she would love this version of ASDF.
If you don't love farts, I don't know what you're doing in this community. They're very funny.
Louder for the people in the back.
Y'all, Polly, I was on my second glass of wine during this segment, and I think it started to hit me. So it hit me like really hard when you said John made this. If I hadn't sent it to John, I don't know if this would have been anything. And I was just like, just like this big grid and like blush, just like, oh, it makes me so happy.
Well, it's true. It's true. This game probably would not have existed if I would not have sent it. Like, I don't know that I would have released it. I don't, because I wouldn't have had that input. I wouldn't have had the input that made me start changing things.
Aw. Cool.
So yeah, go play ASDF. I'm pretty happy with it. You can play that. You can play that at socksmakepeoplesexy.itch.io. You can find all my games there, in fact. All of my very
you have a meaty fucking collection at this point.
I was noticing that, like, when I
have 11 games on there now.
Yeah, but when you consider games that I've directly uploaded and games that I've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty shocked that like, wow, I've actually got a bit of a portfolio now, huh?
I know, right? It's pretty badass. Like, it's all of us now.
We're prolific.
It's pretty cool.
We're prolific.
We're prolific.
Every single member of the Sockscast has made multiple video games. Imagine if you had go back and tell
more
younger
than
John.
I know, it feels good. More than 9, because that's the level where you have a grid of 3x3 games on one of the itch formats. Mm-hmm. So like for me, that's like, oh, this person's released a lot.
Ah, there you go. That's how you know that you got a creator that you want to stick with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally, like, oh, they've released like a dozen games. Like, okay, cool. That tells me that they are kind of onto at least they're onto something that works for them, and that counts for a lot, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that like I've reached that point where it's like I know the kind of things I like making now, whereas I don't know that I would have known that when I started making games like 7 years ago, which was fun. I actually did a retrospective stream on how I got started in making games, and that was really fun.
That was so fun.
To look back at all that stuff. We brought out the classic clicky spitty farty ball.
Absolutely.
We broke it. I didn't know that.
You fucking Pac-Man end screened that game.
I could not believe that after 7 years that you could actually break that game. Never tried.
Incredible.
Not that that's a publicly available game that anybody could play. It's not even a game. But it's just funny that like it's this thing that I made to learn Game Maker, and I found out you can break it 7 years later.
I think that's fucking great.
Make video games, y'all. Play video games, y'all. How about a 5-minute break? And then we'll get the second half of the show. All right. We will be back in a few minutes. Get yourself comfy. Get yourself something to eat. We'll be back with like the second half of things.
Cool. I think I just made a formatting change to my Game Maker site, to my itch page that I'm really liking, because it actually puts collab games in the main thrust of it. Let me see here. I just made the collection the
Polly's
main display.
Muted, so this is definitely not podcast anymore.
Okay. I'll tell it to Polly in a minute.
Also, we can hear you clicking like crazy.
Sorry about that. I just got like a fucking. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be doing the audio there. I was listening just intently, being inspired, and made a change my itch format.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to go break.
Let's go take a break.
Hello.
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 Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Sorry, I'm looking for something real quick.
Okay.
Blip, 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 blip. Oh, geez, Twitter. Twitter, why are you like this?
Uh-oh. What did Twitter do?
You go on Twitter and they're just like, oh, we're not going to show you the actual tweets. We're just going to show you whatever we feel like.
Sure.
I guess John's back because he's in the DM.
I was on the toilet.
Oh my God.
All right. That's the content people are tuning in for. We were talking so much about liking farts, man. So, hey.
Yeah, you did kind of start this one off with some real
energy. Why did
something?
I just follow the energy we're taking us. I feel like, well, it's like Polly can say whatever, but then John comes in with the put the balls in the asshole, and suddenly it's weird.
Put the balls in the asshole. Put the balls.
It's just very funny. I think that's a very funny image.
In the asshole. Put the balls in the asshole. Ball.
Polly, I was inspired by our talk, and I rearranged my itch.
You did.
And
you've got so many, and it's exactly 4.
It's 4x4. It's so pretty.
Oh, nice.
No, it's 4x5. It's 20.
Yeah, it's 4x5.
I put NIMS, but this way I made the collection the main display and hid all of the.
Okay, I see what you're doing here.
That's smart.
And I hid all the thumbnails. I was looking at your page, like you can, because I was thinking you could hide these and make the collection the main one.
I didn't know you could do that.
I could do that.
You'll have to just show me that next time.
Sure. It's super easy.
All right,
I'll show you afterwards.
Cool.
Polly's page is triggering me because it's 8 instead of 9 and then 11 instead of 12.
Yeah, it's not even either way.
And now mine is beautiful.
So you just have to, when you make one game, you have to find 4 more to hide.
That's true. You see, when it was 3x3, it was easier because it would just line up perfectly every third game, but now it's gonna be every 4 games.
Or just make more games to even it out.
There you go. I like that the 2 flick games aren't right on top of each other forever now. That was triggering something for me too. I was like, I love this. I have the CSS privileges. If you email their support, you can get CSS rights turned on. So you can start making weird custom tweaks to the page. So that's an option. I can show you how to do that.
Yeah.
That's something you have to have them manually turn on.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll hit them up for that, and then you just show me what you did.
Now I'm sad because I looked at my own page and it is also 8 out of 9. Just disgusting. I mean, I have a bunch of games I could upload there.
There you go. I kind of want to upload my first game, the one I have from 2009, just to kind of say fuck it to my sense of propriety and curation. Just no, this is everything. I really wish I had the game I finished in middle school, but I checked a bunch of thumb drives. It is gone.
Yeah.
So it goes.
Mine was just, there's a bunch of licensed copyrighted music in all my old games.
Oh yeah, but
I don't think they give a shit.
Itch don't care.
That's what
Itch can do whatever.
You look at Polly's page, and it's just the Mario game and the Luigi game.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect.
And then Polly Dungeon right between. It's great. And then Flappy Bird.
Yeah,
beat that. Battletoads. You beat just all of Battletoads art. Fuck, this makes me happy.
But specifically Nintendo. Nintendo don't play.
Nah.
Yep. Let me pull this game up because it makes me really happy. It's right here. It's Dismal Anhedonia Land. And the opening of the page is cease and desist my butthole, Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I mean, I did something similar at the end of Luigi floating on an egg. It was all assets blatantly and unapologetically stolen from Nintendo.
Good. The background image for this, I love this RPG Maker game, by the way. The background image for it is taken from one of my old blog posts.
Oh, good. Blah, 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 blah.
God, life
this
is good.
plays real well on an audio podcast. Though.
I think I'm next. I've got a thing I wanted to share.
So, John, what do you want to talk about? What do you?
I really would not have mentioned this because I forgot. But you talking about ASDF made me happy. I made a game.
Yeah, yeah, you did.
I thought we talked about it, but I did this 9 days ago, so I'm like, nope. So my friend Drew made a drawing of a seal, seal orb.
It's a very silly seal.
The original, it was a photo. It was a still taken from Drew took a video of a seal in the zoo. The friend went through that video and took a still that made it look like the seal was just kind of like a floating orb because of the perspective. And then Drew made a drawing of that seal, that still from the video. And then I saw that seal and was like, this is a fucking great seal. And then I wrote a little story in like an hour at work of downtime. And I just made this little story about the seal. And it was like when he posted in Discord, I immediately captioned it with like, hello, friend. You've traveled a long way, haven't you? Let us draft our bargain. And then because that was the vibe it was sending me.
Yeah.
So then over like less than a day, I figured out a bunch of Ren'Py formatting shit and then turned it into a fucking game.
Just a nice little 10-minute shit post.
It makes me very happy. I really like this stupid fucking seal.
The seal is very good. It's a very good seal. I wish that there were a way for us to, in audio form, show people this wonderful seal, but...
Well, it's in the it's on my itch page, farawaytimes.itch.io. It's called A Cold Place. And this speaks to my shitpost style, but the game itself is fucking completely dead serious. It's like a 10-minute story that is taking itself just completely seriously.
Yeah.
And even in the moment while I was writing it, I was just like completely immersed in the fiction of this.
Letting it happen, going with it.
Just like thinking through like, okay, what's the lore here? What's actually going on? And thinking through it and then putting it in the game next to this fucking seal.
It's perfect.
It made me very happy. I was going to take a song from fucking what's it called? The FromSoft game with the absolutely bizarre soundtrack. Fuck, what's it called?
Cookies and Cream.
What game?
Cookie and Cream.
The Adventures of Cookie and Cream.
The Adventures of Cookie and Cream. It was probably
is it that one?
It was Evergrace.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Evergrace has an absolutely buck. I set it to an Evergrace track and it didn't feel quite right because it was a little too loud.
Right.
Then I set it to a track by my friend Narf that I've been wanting to use for like 4 years, and it felt great. And I was just like, so this was just. Polly made a fun score attack thing, and it brought her a lot of joy. I made dark seal VN shitpost.
It is a seal that you would want to ponder.
It was a very ponderable orb. God damn it. I didn't even think of that joke while I was making it. I thought of it after talking to y'all.
Could have just called the game Ponderous Seal.
This was the first time I used the itch custom noun so I could make it a downloadable orb.
A downloadable orb.
It's very fucking dumb. I had the same moment as Polly where I released it like, is this actually something I can put out there? Seriously?
Yeah, like it's a weird feeling when you make something that weird and you're not sure.
So this immediately got Let's Played. By you, which was delightful. I really appreciated your Let's Play, and I really appreciated your presentation. Also by a total stranger, who I assume was trawling the itch visual novel tags for new content for their YouTube, which looks very fun and choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh fuck! I have 2 people who've YouTubed me in the last 2 weeks, and I didn't have them on hand. I'll get that by the end of the segment. And so she got to the end of the segment and then was just like, well, take from that what you're going to take from that, I guess.
Her bewilderment was fantastic.
She wasn't commenting on the game. She was reading it. She was just reading through the visual novel, just letting it speak to people. But then, like, there would be little differences in her cadence as she's just, like, perplexed by what she's reading.
What?
And kind of like, what? Blanco Kicks on Twitter. I'll post that in the chat, too. And then getting to the end of it, like, I guess we made a bargain with a seal. Well, take from that what you're going to take from that.
It's such a good...
and that just made everything worth it. Just like, yes!
That's exactly the energy that you want that game to express.
Because I watched that person play it, and I was just... Because I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really feeling like, what did I make here? What even fucking is this? And then I watched the person play it and have that reaction, and I was just like, this was everything I wanted it to be. Life is good. I am so fucking weird. God. So thank you, Polly. I immediately started working on a couple other things. I had another visual novel idea, and I walked around Chicago, the cold Chicago streets, like 30 degrees at 10 p.m. at night, taking pictures of ominous alleyways and places in the empty park, because I had a VN idea for it. For maybe whenever I get to that, but now I have those photos on hand as just kind of raw material to play with, just for a story idea I'd had for ages. So I was just like, and then I worked on another thing, and I was just like, it's so fucking contagious, just like the creative joy, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was absolutely because of playing from ASDF's journey, and it just that day I think I started the Seal game, and then I finished it the next day, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, that came on the heels of ASDF pretty quickly. Good vibes spread, people.
Good vibes fucking
take that
spread.
As a lesson.
And then Tom made this fucking amazing game that he's putting out soon. So I love my friends are all geniuses. Life is good. I have one other fun thing, which is that I started Xenosaga.
Yes!
It's fucking great.
Oh my
so far.
God. This game's opening. This and like SMT Nocturne are probably my two favorite like opening chapter RPGs, basically.
Cool. Literally, I played it like 7 hours in the last like 2 days.
It's so good.
It's just fucking stunning. Like, it's basically like, what if we took the first 5 minutes of Xenogears and then made that into like a whole long opening segment? So it's basically like 3 hours of just like people on a spaceship living their life, and doing like their regular boring office day to day, and then everything going to shit in the most spectacular way. And then I played like 3 or 4 more hours after that, and it's still good. And I'm just like so happy because there's like characters that want things and drive the story forward and make complex choices that are both good and bad, and people die and you don't expect it necessarily. It's just it's just all the shit I wanted that I wasn't getting, and of course I'm fucking getting it from Takahashi because every Xeno game I played is great.
John is the chosen one.
It can finally happen. It can finally be
the fan of all three.
I think you left off after the Margulis fight.
I played a little bit further after that. I spent so. Right after that, Shion makes a plate of curry for the commander.
Yeah, for Chekhov.
And takes it to him on the ship. So you have this little model of her holding this plate of curry.
Yeah, and you run around with it.
And then I ran her on the ship for like 45 minutes because it's massive.
Yeah, like just run around the ship.
Going down ladders.
Like going down ladders, answering emails. This girl's doing everything on that little PDA.
And right before she leaves, Alan comments, better get it to him quick so it doesn't get cold. And then the whole time you're walking around the ship with the curry, it's steaming, visibly steaming.
It's so fucking silly.
He's like on the bottom floor of the ship. It's like beyond an RPG dungeon with a bunch of treasure chests and everything. And you get to him.
Yeah, it literally pays to explore everything.
I found a locked bridge, and I talked to a robot, and the robot said, "Oh, I lost my key for that bridge in the cabins upstairs, but you have to press O." And I went up to the cabin, and I just pressed O around all the cabins, and I found it invisible on a couch. And I went down, and I opened up the bridge, found the secret door, got a key to a different secret door. Just holy the curry.
Just, that's what you do when you're delivering curry. It's great. Like, that game gets so much shit, and I think it's a fucking delight.
Later in the game, though, in the courtroom section, they'll judge you for how fast you got the curry delivered.
There you go, yeah.
Good joke. So Cosmos is extremely cool, huh?
God.
Yeah, I was going to say also robot wife.
She's coolness and just the very embodiment of coolness.
She's so cool, and it's not just because she's cool and hot. It's because she's also, like, fucking deranged.
Yeah, like, and not like deranged as in like Lisa from Phantasy Star Online 2. She's deranged in the fact that everything is a logical decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so like, yes, she is going to turn this dude into Swiss cheese that is in front of her because changing her aim would drop her efficacy by like 8%.
And it'll make her less likely to save the people that her prime directive is telling her to protect.
Yep.
It's so choice. And then she has another moment that you singled out with the window that's so good.
Oh my god. Her, like, Cosmos meeting the Elsa crew is the moment in that game that I knew that, yeah, this is it. Like, I love this video game.
Because they also make you love the Elsa crew immediately.
Oh god, they're so fucking good. You moron.
The guy's got like warning, boozer cap on his,
he's
on his,
such
on
a
his
drunk.
hat.
He's a drunk dad. Oh, Captain Matthews, you brilliant bastard.
I'm having a fucking ball with this, and then it's like is slow. It's like that 3-hour chunk where you like run around this giant ship, and there's a bunch of these like dumb interactions like, oh look, I can just close this door for no reason, and then the person that's right next to the door gets visibly scared by you closing the door. Yeah. You run by one section and there's a big button and it's like, oh, this vents the airlock in this room, don't press that, you idiot. And you have all this stuff, and then 3 hours later when all the shit's going down, oh shit, oh, this is like now a dungeon and it matters.
Yeah, like
it's so clever.
The entire Woglinde part of that game, if nobody likes anything else, I at least don't understand not thinking that entire portion from the Encephalon through through the invasion on the Woglinde, like, if you don't like that, I don't fucking know what to tell you.
It's fucking, I think it's my favorite Xeno opening, which is wild because Blades is really good. Blade is basically the same thing where it's like 3 hours of just la 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 living in this town and then everything going to hell in a really glorious way.
It also has like the 5-minute cold open as well.
Yeah.
With the action scene.
Yep. This has that too, but except it's
oh, okay.
Like and then it has the cold open and then cut to space 4,000 years later.
4,000 years later.
Like, oh god.
That's
the shit.
How does Xenogears open? Doesn't it open with like an anime?
Yeah, it opens with the
and then like 4,000 years later.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, it does the same thing with the Eldridge and that going down.
Xenogears opens with a spaceship and then cuts to being on a normal fantasy RPG. Mm-hmm. This starts with like present day Earth and then cuts 4,000 years later to being on a spaceship.
Nice. Oh yeah, Taylor is right. Skip the Xenosaga anime. It is butt ass bad.
Oh, I believe it.
I've watched it. I do remember. I don't remember very much from it. I do remember that part with Cosmos refusing to change her aim. So they got some of it across.
I just remember the gif of
they didn't kill
Cosmos
the dude in the anime though.
Oh really? Fuck. Oh. Okay, they did ruin it then.
Yeah, like it's actually ruined.
I mean, it's so cool because the way they set up that character with him being like out of his mind and like very over, he's like kind of painting himself as like I'm going to be the villain later. So when he just dies, it's like, oh shit. Okay. All right. This is going to keep me off kilter, I think. Mm-hmm. I remember that gif from the anime where Cosmos just dumps Shion in a trash chute.
Shion in the trash chute. Yeah. Yep.
So that one's pretty good. I am thoroughly delighted. I love everybody. There's an actual story, and there's all this fucking Xeno shit happening. It cuts to like an ominous circle of politicians who are like discussing the Zohar Zohar project, and I'm like, yes.
Has anybody said Udo yet?
Nobody said Udo yet.
Okay, that's one you're gonna get used to too. The Zohar project, Zohar emulators. Udo.
Don't mess with the Zohar.
Don't fuck with the Zohar. No, stay away from that thing.
The Gnosis are so cool.
Fuck yeah,
they
are.
Scary.
I love I love the theming. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. The Gnosis are just like these like translucent creatures that can interact with our world, but you can't affect them. So they're just they're like ghosts basically. So they're being shot at, and it's just going right through them. And then they'll just pick somebody up and just like smash their head into the thing, and it'll be bloody. It's like actually really scary and good.
Yep.
I remember something now. Me and Polly figuring out that they're basically the noise from Symphogear.
Yeah, yeah, that is a thing.
There's like a similar thing where they vibrate between dimensions. That's why you can't touch them normally.
Good. I feel like I remember Final Fantasy Spirits Within being similar.
Having a similar idea, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This is just extremely dope. I feel like the thing that is going to turn people off here is just sort of the general vibe of how you play it, because it is very stripped down. Like coming off of Xenoblade, especially, like you are walking around gray spaceships.
Yeah.
Thus far, I have exclusively walked around gray spaceships. When I was looking up a detail about emulating it, I saw a GameFAQs thread that was just, is this game just spaceships? And I'm thoroughly braced for that. I'm very at peace with that. And there's just not like a lot to do here. There's not an overworld. You're not moving between big locations. The systems feel like kind of stripped down. Like it's still Xeno, so there's still a lot of numbers and shit to manage.
Oh yeah,
and a whole system with mechs, but like it's not a ton. And then the fact that you're walking around these places and there's no music.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the story is happening. There's like hour-long cutscenes that they have like 2 save points in the middle of. Like this is a specific presentation mode that that you might get severely put off by, and I would be like, yeah, it makes sense, but I'm vibing with it.
No music is pretty killer for me, honestly.
It's wild though, because like you spend 3 hours on that ship at the start with fucking no music, and then the music starts, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like that. Shit's getting real when the game does break out music for when you're running around.
It's Half-Life,
basically.
I mean, honestly, it's like that.
I mean,
Half-Life
it does start
with like 20 minutes of Day in the Office, and then goes to hell.
Very similar.
I fucking love this so far. I'm very. I mean, like the really cool thing would just be if this was like my favorite Xeno thing, because I can see the possibility of that, because like this feels a little bit tighter than what Gears was doing, at least at the start. It feels a little more purposeful and scripted here, because Gears is like 1 hour in this town and then everybody dies, and it's like, okay. it's a little bit like, huh, all right. Doesn't quite hit the same as Saga and Blade's opening.
Yeah.
And then Blade is ultimately like a little video game. It doesn't have a lot of the Xeno weirdness. So this could potentially be sort of like like the just right porridge. But even if it's not, even if I don't like it quite as much as one or the other, like I'm still very moved by what this is doing.
That's the thing, is I don't think that there's any way that this doesn't land.
Yeah, like I said, every Xeno game I've played has been good. I really trust this series at this point, which is kind of which feels really good.
Yeah.
This bizarre multi-corp mega series.
And just like Trails, it got really anime in the later entries.
Also, every they have 3 different series that all play and look completely different, which is also a plus compared with Trails.
And with Xenosaga, it's literally 3 different games that look entirely different between each installment and play entirely different between each installment. Like every
that's
game,
so cool! I didn't know that.
Every game is just an entirely different experience. Like they had to recast half of the actors for 2.
Oh, jeez.
Which is unfortunate. It really is.
Yeah, the first one's dub is really good.
It does hurt some things, but the key players are still there. And then in 3, they got everybody back. So.
Oh, nice! Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of unfortunate for the cast of 2, though.
It is, but
what if you like one of them more?
It was a weird contract thing, from what I understand, and that like some actors were with some agency at this particular time that were not letting them do Bang Zoom dubs. I think something like that. It was a weird thing, but they got it sorted for 3, and everything's back to normal. Yeah, we lose Shion into her original voice actress, and her Xenosaga Episode 1 voice actress is real good.
I love the dub in this game.
Yeah, the dub's so good, and it like even when it falters in 2, like it still lands because there's still like the backbone players are still there making it work.
2 is the one that did not have Takahashi directing, like in the credits. Yeah. So that and just knowing like there's a lot of issues with how that one came together, but you saying that at least the story holds together, like I'm very okay playing a shorter, weirder, kind of worse entry, and then playing one more complete banger to close it out.
Yeah,
I will say
Chaos's voice actor in 2 is actually way better. And he they stick with him for 3 as well. So yeah, the new Chaos is he's got such a great voice.
Awesome. That's really dope. Chaos makes a very strong impression with that design, huh?
Yeah, he does, man. Just like, I got booty shorts.
Very Mega Man Zero.
I got booty shorts and I can touch Gnosis. What's up with that?
Booty shorts and like full body tights. He actually legit does look like a Mega Man Zero character.
He does.
And then in 3 they get Yuki Kaijura.
Yeah.
Just like,
is she only in 3?
I think she's 2.
She does the cutscene music. She does the cutscene music in 2, and then the game music is done by somebody else.
Interesting.
Obviously everything she touches is gold.
Yeah.
So literally no exception.
Yeah.
Everything she touches is gold. So I will say I had a moment.
Wait.
I will say
there's a joke in there, I'm sure.
She does the Sword Art Online music.
There it is.
Yep.
I also associate her with Fate, which is
and Madoka, like Fate, Madoka, Sword Art Online, like 3 bangers.
Yeah, sure.
So I had a moment shortly before the podcast where I was like, I'm glad this is going to be 40 hours long because I love this vibe that much. So that I never feel that. I'm always like,
let's get this done. Let's get this over with in 20.
I'm already thinking like, okay, I'm 20% through. Like it doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying it. It's just like, it's like reading a book where you're like, okay, I'm out through. So I was just very pleased by how this is presenting. And I like had stuff I wanted to do this weekend, and instead I just played all of Xenosaga, and I do not regret it because I'm very tired and I deserve it. So far I've played all of it on the newest version of PCSX2, and it's worked completely smoothly, like 0 issues. So I can continue my streak of playing every single Xeno game emulated.
God.
That's good. Go ahead,
what about the 2, Xenoblade 2?
Xenoblade 2 is probably the one I'm going to break for that, so I can play it on the go.
Oh, right. You're a big on-the-go gamer. Oh, Xenoblade 2 on the portable's pretty rough, honestly. If you care about resolution or frame rate, which maybe
wait, why would it be worse on the portable version? Why would the frame rate be worse on the portable version? I should say.
Maybe it's not. I think it's the resolution gets rough on that one.
Weird.
I just see endless bitching on Reset Era about that, and people are like, "Oh, Xenoblade 3, or it should be on the Switch too. Blah, blah, blah. It's gonna look like my dick's ass. Looks like poop coming out of a butt donkey.
Diarrhea dump out of its into my ear." So yeah, that's very funny. I'm very excited to play Xenoblade 2. Rhett, when Xenoblade 3 got announced, I was just like, I felt really, really warm inside. I felt like, I'm so happy they're making more Xenoblade.
I was especially happy because I've, played all the Blade games. That's the only one I really got into. I definitely started crying a bit at work. Like, yes.
Yes!
And it's coming out this year. Fuck. I forgot about that.
Shit. I like
when they don't make you wait 5 years. They just, hey, it's almost done.
Yeah, that's really that feels very professional. That's like, hey, we've just been chugging along at this. If we're feeling good about it, now we're ready to do a release date this year. But Monolith Soft seemed just like pros to me. Like they just, like Xenoblade X was not a Takahashi game, and I still really enjoyed it. Like I'm interested in checking out their other stuff, like Bait and Kaitos. And their other cool stuff that they've just done a lot of stuff that they seem like they make good games.
I mean, you could feasibly be the master of Bait and Kaitos.
I'm not sure. I don't follow.
It's okay.
Bait and Kaitos beating? Like, is it a masturbation joke? Just doing the math in my head.
Yes, literally.
Okay.
The master of Baitin.
Oh, there we go.
Your joke was more subtle, the Yuki Kaijira one, and Polly's is just extremely.
Well, I missed the master, and I just was focusing on Bait and Kaitos, and I thought Baitin, like, So yeah, I'm just over the moon. I love Xeno. It's okay that Final Fantasy is bad now because Xeno exists, and there's going to be another Xenoblade. Yeah, Rhett?
I guess Final Fantasy is kind of bad right now as well, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of faith in 16.
There was 10. People like that one. And 12.
I want to replay 10. I'm pretty sure 10 is good, and I still haven't played 12 and 13. I talked with Frank about all this yesterday, and he pointed out that he said some stuff about 12 that people don't get really specific about what they like about 12, and the stuff that Frank specifically liked about 12 made me happy. Just like a lot of the stuff that is like, this is kind of proto Xenoblade and how it plays. Makes me
I mean, that kind of is the vibe that I would give that.
Yeah, I remember like, and I don't want to play Xenoblade.
Yeah, there's a lot of discourse about, it's an offline MMO.
Cool. I mean, like that. I'm also just like, this is how Knights of the Old Republic plays and Baldur's Gate plays and all of these play. Like that was another style. Okay, I've talked long enough. I just can't. I just have so many positive feelings about Xeno right now. And it's very nice coming off feeling very disillusioned. So, Rhett, what else have you been up to?
So, backtracking a little bit, you mentioned, I'm excited for Xeno. I can't get Xeno Saga to be 40 hours long. So speaking of long RPGs, Cold Steel 2, I started February 2nd.
Yeah.
Just going by Steam achievements. I finished February 21st. So like 19 days. I have 68 hours played.
Woo!
When I'm saying I went fucking ham on that one.
You just went balls in.
Yeah. I have almost 90 hours in Cold Steel 1. It is the longer game, but also I probably like got a little bored and maybe tabbed away more often.
Yeah.
But it is the longer game by a bit, but just went so fast for Cold Steel 2. Almost too fast to where it was like, sometimes I'm having a hard time remember all that's happened in this. Because it's just like, I look at my screenshots like, wow, that was a lot of stuff that happened in one day for me when you play for like 7 hours in a row. And then another game came out that I've also put. Let me check Steam right now. Oh, somebody else is playing it. I have 45 hours in this. I am not anywhere near beating it. We're, of course, talking about the other hot JRPG right now, Elden Ring.
Oh, that game. That little thing?
Elden Ring.
That little thing?
A little bit
Two sides of a coin.
God, my Steam friends list is amazing. Bab Scriven has 77 hours played. General Ivan has 58 hours. Jeez. Like, I'm not even keeping up with people. Dr. No at 42 hours.
Yeah, everybody I'm seeing on my list right now is easily over the 40-hour threshold.
Yeah. It's okay, so I feel like this game really just did say what it is up front.
Yeah.
It's open world Dark Souls. Like, there's just no other way to describe it. And we were talking about, like, catching up on franchises, like, oh, John's playing all the Xeno games. I'm getting through all the Trails games. And I kind of, like, I've played all the Yakuza games somehow. And then I kind of realized, oh, right, of us three, I'm the only one that played Dark Souls 3. I'm the only one that finished Bloodborne. I'm the only one to play Sekiro. So, like, I clicked with those games from Dark Souls, and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to playing all of them now. Even when I don't love them, like Sekiro, which was a little bit different. Like, this is just this franchise. And it is kind of weird to call it a franchise because they try to act like they're different things at like the most surface level.
Yeah.
I really want to keep up with these games too. Like, even though I haven't, like, I want to kind of, at least with like Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, like the big one, the big new ones each time.
Yeah, because I think Dark Souls 2 definitely wasn't Miyazaki. I don't even know if 3 was. It might have been. But Elden Ring, like Bloodborne, when that came out, people were kind of laughing like, this is really just Dark Souls. But like that one was more thematically, it was different. Like the setting was not the exact same. And like it heavily focused on a certain style of play and really kind of stripped out all the magic, stripped out shields. There was like a joke shield was made of wood. It was really just like, hey, we're going to make cool action bosses that you have to dodge around, and that's kind of the only style of play the game is going to support. And then Sekiro went significantly further in that kind of direction of like, hey, this is a game about parrying.
Yeah.
Like that one very much has a lot of souls in it, but I think that's kind of the one that feels the most distant because the combat just feels so different. And like that's the one I never beat because I just got exhausted by how hard it was.
Yeah.
Because you just have to have a rhythm with those bosses, and I have no rhythm. Like I never understood what that game wanted from me other than perfection. So of the games that don't actually have souls in the name, so Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Elden Ring is by far the closest to those Souls games. Like, it's got all the magic systems from those games that you may tend to ignore. Yeah, like it's got...
The UI is the same.
It's so similar. But specifically, like, the way it allows for all these different builds and, like, oh, I'm a magic class, and I've got, like, the blue magic missiles. It's just... Or I'm a faith-based character, and I've got, you know, the clerical spells.
Like, the Estus system is basically just Dark Souls 3.
The Estus is exactly the same as Dark Souls 3's, where you have one that heals HP, one that heals magic, and you can kind of allocate how many of each you take out of the same pool.
Yeah.
Like, this is so Dark Souls 4, basically. The lore, like, they got George R.R. Martin of Game of Thrones to, like, assist them with the lore, which is so fucking funny because it really kind of feels like a Dark Souls copy pasta. Like,
oh no.
Like, it's the same style of, like, a lot of terms that you don't fully know what they mean kind of being thrown around. They talk about the shattering, like when the world fell into ruin. You know, we've got to restore the balance of the Erd tree, and it's just,
it's just Mad Lib Dark Souls.
Yeah. Yeah, not whatever I said.
Well, to be fair, that tree is very pretty looking when you see it in the trailers and everything. Just like even in gameplay, when you look up at it, it's very pretty.
There's actually a bunch of small. There is the one huge tree. There's a bunch of smaller ones. So there's kind of golden trees all over. And every time I see them, I go, Yuki Una reference. Which no one else is going to get, but it's funny to me, goddammit.
I appreciate it.
There's golden trees in that.
Yuki Una is inherently funny because of its bizarre, because everything is being so weird about it. So, yes.
Yeah. So, Elden Ring is open world Dark Souls 3. Or, well, I guess it kind of is specifically Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of systems in this, like, kind of... It feels like the culmination of everything they've been putting together in the other games, where, like, there's a little bit from this, there's a little bit from that, but primarily Souls games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure how I feel about this one so far. Like, obviously, it's good, it's fun to play. The open world, I think, is starting to kind of, as people hit like the 40, 50 hour mark, the open world may not be the greatest thing because the game feels a little diluted. Where, like, instead of this one extremely tight world that Dark Souls has, where everything is connected in really cool ways, and you're just traveling from one place to the other. Like, oh, what's over there? Oh, it's the castle, and now I'm underground. Now there's like this whole underground village here, and oh god, fire dungeon. Like, everything's connected and very vertical. Like, it's a really cool space to explore. Mm-hmm. A lot of Elden Ring is the worst parts are just you're riding around, and hey, there's a cave over there, and you fight through like 3 rooms of enemies, and then there's a copy pasta boss at the end. That's the worst of it. But like, when the quality of content kind of varies so greatly, it just makes the whole thing feel very uneven.
Right.
Because the first few hours, actually, I think the first 2 hours were kind of dull for me because I didn't find anything. Like, I walked right by this real obvious cave because I know exactly where I went at the start, and then I watched a VTuber play it and find this thing, and I was like, wait, what? There's a thing there? I was looking. It's like sometimes if you see a shadow, it's actually a cave or something.
Right.
But the first time you see a certain like style of enemy, you're like, oh, this is a unique boss that only exists here, and I found this. And then you see that enemy type again later in the game. You go, oh, this is a template. Shit. So like, there's a lot of small caves. There's a lot of like small catacombs, which are very similar to the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne. And that's another thing, is that they've kind of dipped their toe into this as well before with Bloodborne, where Bloodborne has like this whole optional Chalice dungeon thing, but those were literally randomly generated dungeons. So like, of course they were kind of copy pasta and like had kind of generic bosses at the end because they were literally being generated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when this does it, these are all like specifically crafted encounters, but they're still kind of like putting together, and like the catacombs in this are like way smaller than anything in Bloodborne for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really kind of basic. And so it's just the good stuff in this game, like the real like big set piece moments are as good as like the Souls games generally are.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't hit those highs as constantly because this seems to be an unbelievably long game if you want to see everything, which I do. Like the whole thing of like, in Dark Souls, you kill like the 4 lords to get the souls or whatever to unlock the final boss. This has like the 6 things you want to kill. I've done 2 in 45 hours.
In 45, I was about to say. Jeez.
So people like unironically joking, like, is this actually going to take like 150 hours? Is this game that long? And I know people have beaten it so far, but this one seems like a big boy for sure.
He a chunky boy.
Yeah. There's just so... I will say the one good thing about like the open world is that you don't have to bang your head against this one challenge that is in your way.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was what really kind of drove me nuts about Dark Souls 3 at times, was like, it's probably the most linear path of all of them. So it's like, if you can't beat this one boss, there's nothing really else to do besides grind for a bit to level up, or just keep fighting it over and over and over. In this, it's just like, hey, you can go anywhere. Like, and the horse especially, like, you can just run pretty much almost anywhere right at the start, which is kind of crazy.
That is cool.
Like, I find myself having to break out of patterns that Souls gets me in, of like, oh, don't summon, don't do this, because that's cheap. You want to play these games fair. And like, I still don't play online. I won't summon like other players, but anything else is fucking valid, because there's a whole system in this one that's new of like summoning ghosts to help you fight, and some people being like, oh, that's cheap, and I'm like, it's a huge system of the game. Like, one of the main like loot items that you're finding in these dungeons are summonable spirits.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not using them, like, you're just massively crippling yourself. So don't complain that the game's too hard if you're ignoring like this system. And like, they're pretty expensive. Like, I'll use like all of my MP summoning like one character to help fight, so they better be useful.
Yeah.
And then
it seems like it sounds like this is it sounds like a lot of, like, when they announced open world Souls, there was a lot of groaning in my spheres. Yeah. And it seems like this is still very good and considered. It's just also, there is also going to be some of, you know, what people were dreading, which is just like, it's an open world game. There's going to be this.
You're going to have those faults that come with an open world game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's very similar to, I think, to Breath of the Wild having shrines be the main thing that you find around the world, and like those getting kind of fucking repetitive, even if they're all technically unique. You know, there's only so many ways you can make like the same thing interesting 100 times. You know, not that there's nearly that number of caves or crypts in this, but like those feel so much more basic, because Souls doesn't have a lot going on besides the combat.
Does Elden Ring have like a 20-second load time going into and out of the caves?
No.
All right, then. That's all I need. I'm good.
True. It's all seamless unless you fast travel, and you will be fast traveling a lot. But
the worst thing with the shrines, it was so rough in Breath of the Wild.
The load times in that were pretty bad. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's something about this game that's obviously going to keep me playing till the end, and like, it is super cool, like when you're on the top of a mountain looking off and seeing like the whole world you've explored and all these castles and stuff. But also, boy, they keep kind of going back to the same theme though, of like these ruined castles, you know, with the soldiers kind of in shambles, and like dragons and giant great swords. Like, they may as well just get the Berserk license, please.
Yeah.
Like, they just want that so bad. Just make a Berserk game.
I've heard they just straight up have a lot of assets from Dark Souls in here, which great.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I got the Zweihander. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same animations and sound effect. Like, the sound effect is definitely the same. I know what that thing sounds like.
You spent like 100 hours using that damn thing. So.
Yeah. I will say, that's not actually my main weapon.
Ooh.
I have a punchy fist that I really like, because it sets things on fire.
Oh, hey, that's a good combination of things. Punching them and then they set on fire? Yeah, I'm here for that.
The fucking L2 on it, that uses a little MP, is this flaming uppercut that it's really slow, but if it gets off, it does a ton of damage, and then it does to fire AoE. It's just like it shoots out fire, and then the fire starts raining down in the area to do like little bits of damage to any remotely near me. It's very funny. Like, there's a lot of cool weapons, so I'm trying to not just be like, I use the Zweihander and the Zweihander only. Like, that's too boring. I'm trying to, you know, experiment a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I made a halberd thing that naturally causes poison, or it causes bleeding, so I put poison on it, so it does 2 status effects.
Oh, shit,
it fucked up the set. It immediately fucking destroyed this one enemy I was having trouble with. I was like, okay, you're in the rotation now.
I played Demon Souls and Dark Souls before playing Luca, so I did not, you know, do parrying. and now I understand parrying. So now I'm ready for like Bloodborne and to try out these other builds and whatnot, instead of just, getting the biggest sword possible and then the heaviest armor and then tanking my way through these games.
Tanking in this one is there's one system I really like where after you get a hit with an attack and you block it with your shield, you can do an R2 attack that changes to be like a heavier, quicker version.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, it makes tanking a little bit more dynamic and interesting than it has been before, because you're trying to get that quick counter off, because that counter does immense stagger damage.
Good.
Like, if you hit with it, the enemy's just fucking done. But then I've had enemies start doing it on me.
Fuck, I want to play Bloodborne so bad, Rhett. I'm feeling it. It was like that or Xenosaga, and Xenosaga won out, and I feel good about it, but I really want to play Bloodborne.
What happened to Umineko?
That was number 3. Was we gotta start Umineko 3. I know episode 3 is really good. I'm really excited.
3 might be the best one.
I believe it. I'm excited. But right now, you gotta answer the calls you're given.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, obviously I really like Elden Ring. It's just, there are some moments of it where it's like exploring kind of generic caves. It's just like, like not every moment hits these highs, but at the same time, it's kind of nice having like, hey, I can just come to content way over leveled because I fucked around in the open world for so long. Like was somebody going to say something?
I was just thinking there's no quest log, and there isn't like a massive thing of a bunch of icons on your map. Like,
yeah, you have to put icons on yourself. There are quests. Cool. Characters will tell you to do things. You just got to write it down and take a screenshot and remember. It's very funny. It just does not help you in ways that are extremely good.
Good. Cool. Like when I saw that there was a map, I was a little bit like, aw. But I think this kind of game, it's probably pretty important to at least have that much.
I actually really like the map, because the map will kind of be like, hey, looks like there's something over there. Maybe I'll put a little pin down like in Zelda and walk over there. And oh, there was a thing. Cool. Like, it doesn't explicitly guide you to stuff. It's just like you see an interesting thing that looks like something on the map and you go check it out.
Cool.
I think the sillier thing is that in gameplay, there's always a compass on the top of the screen, and that feels so funny.
Oh, that is funny.
Like, you can turn the HUD off entirely, but I don't want to do that. So there's always a compass, because like it has kind of a, auto adjusting HUD, but oh, you're always moving. So the compass is always going to be there.
That is kind of weird and funny for Souls.
For Souls specifically, because there was a screen, somebody made an edit a while ago of like modern day Bloodborne would be like quest logs and compass and map and stuff. Like,
oh, don't worry, like, someone made a new one of those for Elden Ring.
Because Elden Ring is like the halfway point already. We're actually having a map, even though the map's not on screen all the time, thank God. But like the compass is kind of funny.
Yeah, I'll pull up this pic for y'all, because it's very choice.
I like this game. I'm just kind of wondering how it's gonna all land at the end. After 150 hours of God.
I'm wondering how it'll stack up to the best AAA open world game I've played, Xenoblade Chronicles X.
You played Breath of the Wild?
Hey, Rhett, I did play Breath of the Wild. Xenoblade X is good.
Okay. Wasn't top 10 of the year, but,
Yeah, it's better than fucking Breath of the Wild.
I'm just saying, this one does feel like specifically made for me, because I loved Breath of the Wild, but I also played it on the hard mode only.
Yes.
So this is like, hey, hard mode
for you.
Open world, hard, Dark Souls, there's some moment. The thing about the bosses in this one is like, the main story bosses are so fucking crazy so far. I saw people like freaking out, like, this is, boss that has 5-hit combo string and no stagger and no way to get close to them, dialed up to 12. And it's just like, yeah, this is why the game has extensive a system for summoning, because you ain't getting close to that boss with a shield, because they will just hit. Oh, you're dead. Like, they will break through you. But if you can have your little jellyfish friend take a few of those hits, get behind the boss with his Y-hander, hey, maybe you've got a chance now. Like it's real fun having distractions in there.
Good.
I do think some of them might be a little strong. I have 2 archers right now that just they have 4 arms. They shoot arrows very fast. So like I've had them just kind of not quite kill bosses entirely by themselves, but do significant enough distraction and damage to where I didn't have to do a whole lot.
Cool.
But again, I'm playing by the rules that the game made. I'm not cheating. This one definitely got me back to Dark Souls 1, like, win by any means necessary.
Win by
like,
any means necessary, you go.
Of like, hey, there's an enemy over there. Am I going to jump down? No, I'm going to fucking pull out my crossbow.
Hell yeah.
And then the enemy jumps to the left as soon as I shoot, and I'm like, oh, okay, they thought of this one. He doesn't just stand there and take it. A lot of stuff still stands there and takes it, though. God.
Have you killed the dragon with 200 arrows?
No. Okay, one cool thing that this game has is open world dragons, which again, you know, of course. Mm-hmm. But you got the horse now, so you ride around fighting a dragon on the horse, swinging around the Zweihander, while they're just doing the biggest AoEs because you can run away real fast on the horse. It's very fun. It's very stupid, but that's another thing is like anytime you're outside, just fucking fight on the horse because you're so much stronger. Like you swing so much faster.
Yeah.
Can the horse double jump?
Yeah, and the horse can double jump. Like it is so fucking video gamey.
Good.
The horse, you dash and double jump and get to places you don't think you should be. There was like a fucking jumping puzzle on a tower that I scaled. I was like, this is so like, remember going back to the asylum in Dark Souls and how bad jumping felt in that game?
Yeah.
So the fact that they made jumping feel really good in this is like, oh, thank God. And that's one of those things where it's like, all right, Sekiro had a jump button. Like they are taking things that they've learned from past games.
Cool.
It's very funny though. You can jump and then R2 on the Zweihander and just fucking crush stuff.
Nice.
Because like that attack. Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like that attack has to come out before you hit the ground. So suddenly very fast.
When I was at work, like Tuesday or Wednesday, I was like walking up and hearing coworkers excitedly talking about Elden Ring.
Oh,
and
geez.
The very funny thing is that it sounds like a fake video game in a sitcom because they're like saying, oh yeah, you fight the Blood Hell Knight and then behind them there's this cave and that leads you to the lady who... And that's as much as I picked up, and I was like, that sounds like a fake, not real video game.
And I'm here going, yeah, I did that part.
Yes!
Because the lady gives you half the medallion that you need to operate the Grand Lift.
I think he literally said the Blood Hell Knight.
I don't remember. That's the problem. I don't remember a lot of the actual bosses because they're either the story bosses that fucking kick your face in 10 times, or they're the kind of the generic ones that you beat on like the second try at most. Mm-hmm. Like there is such a gap for some reason where like the main path stuff is fucking rough. It's funny watching streamers just try to beeline that stuff though and fight like a boss I fought at level 30 at like level 11 and being like, no, what are you doing? If you just go south, there's like 30 hours of open world content. Please don't grind against this boss right now.
I think that people are stuck in that Dark Souls mentality, and they're not like... They like the idea of the open world, but they're not embracing it because they get to a challenge and they go Dark Souls mode and think, oh, like, well, I can't give up because if I give up, I'm a pussy and I'm a bad gamer. Yeah. So...
When in reality, these games have always been like, oh yeah, you come back here later when you have like 20 more levels and then you kind of steamroll them.
Yeah.
Like that was most of my end game Dark Souls and Demon Souls.
Yeah, like I did that a lot in Dark Souls, like, but like obviously like when you get to like Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, that you can't do that anymore because it starts getting way more linear.
I think Dark Souls 1 in particular just wasn't balanced that well.
Yeah, like it was mostly an accident that Dark Souls 1 ended up the way that it was.
Yeah, there's like unfinished stuff towards the end.
Yeah,
and
it's like a dragon ass that you can just like
literally a dragon butt.
You can just
the dragon ass is so funny.
You just stab the dragon ass and it just whoop, like they just move it up. It's so dumb. Like that game was an accident. Yeah. That game was not supposed to be what it ended up being.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool and dope that From just has continued making their weird ass games forever, and like it's still there's an element of lameness to it being like, oh yeah, they have kind of capitulated to this larger design trend in AAA games, but it sounds like they're still like at least making their own thing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. This is still in a lot of ways a very Dark Souls-esque Dark Souls game. To me, it's the funny thing of hearing like, oh my god, your coworkers are talking about this. Like it's gone mainstream. Like this is the big AAA game of the 6-month period.
The moment is the Souls game, and that just makes me happy because Souls is fucking great.
Yeah,
it's nice that there is like a big AAA dev that like makes these hard fucking games.
Yeah, and doesn't apologize constantly for making a hard game.
Yep. Which makes people mad, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. I don't need any of that discussion. I did. Nope. Anytime it started crossing my fucking timeline, I'm just muting everybody that's talking about it. I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Oof. So, Polly.
Yo!
I took a while there, so did you do anything else?
Yeah, I did a couple of other things.
This weekend in particular.
So... okay, well, it's a tale of two games, really. It's a tale of two 10-hour experiences. Sometimes, when you're not in the greatest mind state, we turn to media. And sometimes we make decisions, and we don't let our friends know we're making a terrible decision. We go in and we start doing things, and we know we probably shouldn't be doing, but it's just because that weird mindset you're in, you're like, well, maybe there's something here. I'm going to be the one to break through and see it. I played almost exactly 10 hours of Genshin Impact.
Oh, yes! Yes, I forgot about this! Yes!
For some reason, and I can only attribute it to just being in a really bad state of mind for most of the last 2 weeks. Early last week, I downloaded and installed Genshin Impact, got an account, and started playing it. Just because, maybe there's more to it than the fact that it's just a lot of great horny character designs, right? Maybe there's more here to it.
It swept the 2020 Waifu of the Year category on our award show.
Fucking yeah. It's just
that's sad we've stopped doing that category. It is the lifetime winner in perpetuity.
Yeah. So I started playing it. And it's kind of it's exactly what a lot of people say is on the 10. It's like fucking Breath of the Wild, but it's like...
God, Breath of the Wild coming up a lot now.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild.
But this one literally looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like Breath of the Wild. It's got a similar stamina meter. It's got the climbing. It's got everything that's just kind of...
odd.
I've not played Breath of the Wild. After this experience, I wish I would have just tried that. Instead. But to make a long story short, I don't like the game. I like ideas that it has. I think that while playing the actual game part of it, I liked a lot of what it was doing, where you have control of 4 characters and you balance the way elements are, and you use elemental abilities to inflict certain statuses on enemies and then chain that with another character's abilities to exploit it. Like, I'm gonna make an enemy wet, and then I'm gonna change to the electric girl, and I'm going to shock the piss out of everything. And they have moments set up like that all over the world, where there'll be enemies just in these big bodies of water, and you can just switch to electric lady and set the whole fucking place off. That shit feels dope! It's incredible! Like, they do a lot of good work in that game of making it feel super cool up front. And the production values speak for themselves, and like the dub is just so ridiculously good. Like there's a reason this game is popular. I get it, but the thing that like just kind of started pulling me out of it was when I started seeing the way that the gacha elements kind of play into everything that game is, where and like RNG being the determining factor of, well, I can't upgrade my weapons right now because nothing is dropping the thing that I want. So I can't make meaningful progress. And just in general, the idea of just like the gacha rates in this game are absolutely terrible. They do surface them. How honest they are about them, I am not sure, but it's just like, I feel, maybe it's just me, that it's real dumb to make me play a video game where it's just like, look, I started playing your video game because I just wanted to play with one character. And you're not giving her to me out of the gate, so you're going to make me work for it. And then I looked at the rates at which that character can appear, and it's literally 0.6% on a paid fucking pull.
I like buying things and getting the thing.
That's me, and that's a big problem with. Yeah. That's a big problem with Genshin Impact, is that, like, okay, for all the cool stuff you're letting me do, you're not letting me do it with the things that the way that I want to do it. The reason that I came to your game was because I wanted to play as Mona. The reason that, I want to play as all of these characters that I'm horny for, okay? Let's just be real.
Okay, we're just taking the mask off.
Let's off. Let's just go
Absolutely.
with it.
I was like, her name is Mona, Polly.
It's like, and fine, you're giving me good characters. I think they're cool too, but they're not why I came to your game. And then, so it's just like the abysmal rates of pulling anything you would ever want. It's just like, and the fact that it's all tied behind money or these rare, like you can feasibly get the item used to summon characters, but again, without paying into the system. But when the rates to get a character are 0.6%, that feels really stupid to me.
So it's not just getting the item, it's getting the item like 30 times.
Yep. You got to get the item at least 30 times to have a... So I think somebody said to pull a Mona that's worthwhile, to get her all the stuff she needs to actually be a decent character, God. It takes like $400.
Holy shit.
like as we grow up and like gripe about like $60 games and now $70 games on PS5, like the idea that these gacha numbers get so fucking insane so quickly, where it's like $15 for like a 0.06 chance, is like, what?
Yeah, like, and I have a friend that literally pulled her on a free pull and just out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, fuck off.
Give me your account.
Just give me your fucking account. You're not playing the game. God. But yeah, like, I get to a point to where it's just like, if I'm not playing as any of the characters that I want to fucking play as, and like, I really hate the fucking grind that is trying to upgrade equipment, it's just like, and it's all predicated on like getting extra getting extra copies of characters so that you can add even more bonus shit to them. It's just like, it's one of those, and it's just like, like, fine, whatever, like, you had a chance. I gave it 10 hours, and it's just like, I don't think that, like, if you have goals and things that you want to play Genshin Impact for, you can't play it free to play. You absolutely can't, because the odds of you getting the things you want are so low. You have to pay into that system. Like, and I don't think that, like, them giving you the pittance of characters that they give you is enough to float you by, to keep you excited for what it's doing. There were things there that I liked, but unfortunately, it's just like, yeah, like, if this was a cool single-player game we'd probably get along. And the cool thing is, like, you know what? Scarlet Nexus uses a lot of these same ideas of abilities interacting with one another and you having to strategically use them. So, hey, maybe that's the ticket. Maybe I'll just look at Scarlet Nexus again at some point.
Yeah. I remember that when Genshin Impact came out, like, late 2020, like, seeing people who were buying into the gacha still, like, upgrading is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't change since then, but like it sounded bonkers at release of like, I don't want to get new characters because they're so insanely difficult to gear up.
Yeah, like you can't like just like getting Mona is not going to be good enough because you're not just feeding her levels isn't going to be good enough to make her worthwhile. You need to get all of the fucking right materials to upgrade her in the right way to make her actually viable. So it's just like, God bless you if you like this garbage, but I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry you like bad video games.
It's so rough when you think like, oh God, please, this cannot be the future of AAA games where they're just like asking hundreds upon hundreds of dollars from you.
That's really what it seems it's going for. And if Genshin Impact can be as successful as it is, then like clearly
it's
like
scary.
Like it's obviously working.
I mean, Korea basically stopped making single-player RPGs commercially in favor of making MMOs and gacha games.
Yeah,
like that happens. Like it's not completely stopped. Like Witchspring was a Korean RPG, but I think it's definitely possible. Yeah. The things can go that way. Things can break that way.
Yeah,
Genshin Impact was like an extremely, extremely expensive game that made its money back like very quickly.
Oh yeah. Like within a weekend. Like, that game just fucking took off. It got catapulted to the moon.
But, like, they put such money into making it, and then they were fine immediately afterwards after it came out.
Yep. Like, there's a lot there that I see potential in, but it's just like, wow, this could have been a real slick and pretty awesome single-player game.
But then it would not have like served the purpose it has for existing.
No, the purpose it serves to exist is to extract money from people's wallets in a very gratuitous, aggressive way. I mean, you have a character literally named Kaching.
It's pretty funny. Apparently in Honkai Impact, they like the characters like the gacha stuff winds up existing on like. You use the gacha characters and like all this side stuff, but then you have predetermined parties for the main quest, which is also just like, then what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, like if you're not going to be able to use the shit that you just dumped so much money into, what's the fucking point?
God. So I remember seeing deeply funny that these things exist.
Yeah. I remember seeing funny screenshots of Genshin Impact where like character is in your party and then character is also an NPC talking to themselves in the world. Like just two exact Monas talking to each other.
Yeah. I've seen plenty of that. Like let that shit go. Like we know you don't care about immersion in your game world. It's fine.
Yeah. I resisted playing Genshin when Fischl was free.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I could survive that, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
But apparently, see, that's the thing is like, say I did download it and then it's like, oh, but now you need another copy to make her strong or whatever.
Like that's the thing is it always comes down to needing to feed characters to like you need multiples of something. Like it's never just enough. It's never enough to just get the character you want. You have to roll it like 100 times.
I'm so glad the Symphogear mobile game was really easy because it had the same systems of like, oh, if you want this character level 5, you need to, you need 5 copies of each character to smash them all together to make a max level 1. Like, oh, okay.
Blah.
This is similar to my Honkai experience, which was just like, this was breathtakingly gorgeous. I saw this animation and I wanted to cry because it was so pretty. All of the girls are extremely pretty.
The people making this series, the people making Genshin and Honkai Impact, the artists behind these character designs have perfected the art of alluring female character designs in a way that literally nobody else has.
which is is something.
It is. It's something.
But then I played Honkai for about 10 hours too, and just like it just felt like noise. Like there was never a point where I like actually got hooked into the story, because it just felt like fucking noise. And also Honkai somehow had like 3 times as many systems as Fate Go, and Fate Go is already got to trash.
Oh God.
Like this is the bizarre thing about MiHoYo, is that I played it and then I went back to Fate Go like, this is actually pretty well made and considered, isn't it? Oh boy. I kind of understood, like after diving into the systems in Honkai, there's just not a good logic there. It's just like so much cotton candy gibberish.
Yeah.
And it was really disappointing, because that game I was so here for it. And also, instead of being like Breath of the Wild, Honkai Impact it's like Devil May Cry, which is a lot more exciting.
That is, yeah, that it is. I was having a good time through. I was having a good time looking through Genshin Impact's world, and like getting to new areas and opening things up and seeing that map just whoosh, just flourish to life. It's very nice, but it's just like, the way everything's coming together is just like, well, if I'm not gonna be able to make any meaningful progress without putting money into this stupid thing, and then if I put money into the stupid thing, I'm not gonna get anything that I want anyway. What's the fucking point? Who cares? Bad video game. Get out of here. I only play good video games. So my last video game is like complete out of nowhere left field thing, and it's literally like just the last 3 or 4 days. It was just kind of been like, what happened? Where did this come from? So I tuned into my friend Concakes one day, and he's playing this game, and it's just like he's just walking around, and it's just like seemingly like he's just setting off fireworks everywhere. There's attacks fly. What the fuck are you doing, my man? He said he was playing a little game called Vampire Survivors. This is one of the most, just like, if you've never played an action roguelike and you want to play one, here's one that literally anybody can play. To play Vampire Survivors, all you need to do is be able to move a control stick or press the WASD keys on your keyboard or something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And everything's predicated on just you auto-attacking, you knowing how your auto-attacks work, picking up experience, leveling up, and then just making a build and unlocking items as you go. There's like items you can put together. You level up an item to max, and you have a different item that complements it, and that can create like a new item, shit like that. It's got a Binding of Isaac shit kind of going on there, but not on the level of absurd.
Not nearly as crazy.
This game is operating on a much smaller scale, and I think that it needs to continue to operate on that scale for it to kind of do what it's doing. But it's just this very simple game where you walk around and you walk around and you shit damage per second. I don't know.
Every weapon is auto attack.
Yeah, every weapon is auto attack. You do nothing but walk around and you pick up crystals, and it sets the dopamine levels. It sets the dopamine hits off in your brain just fucking constantly.
We need a mod to make those crystals orange. I think that would really kind of give you that Mars Matrix feeling.
Yeah, like very much like a shooter that has really good like point pickups, like Crimson Clover and Mars Matrix. It sets off those receptors in just the right way, and but like the way things just like everything about it just feels and sounds good. Like the enemy's dying, it's just like this simple little sound, but it happening over and over, and you seeing the chaos unfold as like you get stronger and stronger over the course of a run, and your weapons get stronger and stronger, and the areas of effect get wider and wider. It's the most weirdly satisfying thing, and it's just like, this game just out of fucking nowhere
it has blown up in a way that is a little scary.
It's so weird. Like, this is going to be the next big thing, I think. I
think this is the next big thing. It has 56,700 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam.
In terms of people making more games like it.
Oh, right.
We're going to be seeing so many copies of what this game is doing over the next year. But yeah, like, I didn't even know that, like, this was, like, a big thing with VTubers, apparently. Like, until, like, I was just like, I saw my friends playing. I saw Concakes and Toad playing it, and I was like, oh, cool, I want to play that. So I saw that, like, oh, like, I have access to it right now. I'm going to go play that. And then I played it, and was just like, oh, my God, it makes total sense. And then, like, Rhett shows me this picture that's just a wall of literally every VTuber you can think of playing it. So it's like, oh, great. Like, for once in my life, I streamed something, and it was relevant. But this is like, this game is $3 fucking. It is in early access, but what is there right now already feels very good. And I think all they really need to do is play with their balance, and just add levels. I think that's really all they gotta do. And there's a very, like, I know that, like, a lot of people are kind of down on, like, persistence in, roguelikes these days, but I think that this is a really good system where it's just kind of like you're basically augmenting the character that you play as, because there's like like 12 of them or something.
There's a bunch. I haven't gotten near everyone.
Bunch of characters that you unlock over the course of the game, and they all have different stats, and they all have different, like, they all start with different weapons, so you kind of gotta build them a little differently depending on how it goes. But the persistent stuff is basically just extra stats where you can augment, like, you can apply, like, semi-permanent augments so that will last from run to run. And that's what you do with all the gold that you accrue over each run. And the cool thing about that is that you actually can just, like, refund all of your permanent upgrades and then, like, reallocate them any way you want.
Oh, I like that.
And I think that's really the hook. That's what makes this so interesting and neat, is the ability to reallocate all of your shit. God, I don't know how, like, it's such a game, it's such a simple short, like, it's such a simple short loop. I don't know how I have 10 hours in it.
You really fell for this one. You have more time in it than I do.
Like, this game just, like, it hits. You can play this game drunk. I found that out. Like, I had
maybe that's the hook.
I had one of my best, like, my first best run, like that got over 20 minutes. I was drunk off my ass on White Russian. So, yeah. Man, this game's just really. I hate that it's so smart. Because it's like, why didn't I think of that? Why am I not the one making hundreds of thousands of dollars right now?
There are games that are so simple that other game devs are just like, why didn't I do that? Like, I think the combat in Helen's Mysterious Castle always got me of like, why has nobody else thought of this? And this one is just like, this is so stupid and simple. Fuck, I wish I made it.
Yeah, like, it's literally a one-handed video game. Like, you just
nice
wink, wink,
wink, wink.
Hey, if you get horny for damage numbers.
Hey, man, this game's got him. Holy crap, it's so satisfying. Like, that's the thing that, like, to tell you how much I like playing this game, I literally rolled out of bed this morning and fired up a stream to play this game.
Ollie did a fucking guerrilla stream.
I did a guerrilla 9:30 a.m. fucking stream to play this stupid video game, and I ended up having, like, this amazing run.
Oh, I can't believe you died so close.
The objective seems to be survive for 30 minutes, and I literally died at 29:54. I was so deflated. But I immediately wanted to play again.
Oh my god.
But I was already just kind of frazzled by that point. That's the thing, is like, it starts getting so intense with, like, so many enemies moving in and onto you that it's just like, after like an hour or so, I'm so frazzled that I was just like, okay, I gotta put this down, because, like, even, like, when I turned the game off, I could see the screen moving left or right really slowly.
Yeah. I've seen people say that stage 2 is easier than stage 1, and I'm like, Stage 2 gets really fucking nuts at the end.
I think stage two is easier because they start you out against a lot more enemies, so you level up much faster. The level, like, I think the Green Acres leveling up is too slow. Like, I don't really like it at all. So like having to hit 20 on that before you can get to the library, and I think start having real fun. It's kind of a bummer because I didn't really like Green Acres that much. But once I hit the library, I was like, oh, this is what this game is. That's when it finally clicked for me.
Yeah, interesting. I just think the library at 25 minutes gets fucking ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. The last 5 minutes.
Because you have everything maxed out.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. Like, so it's like, you're either going to die or win at this point.
Yeah, like like once you've exhausted the item pool, like, I feel that they should kind of just start the final wave, bring them in, let's go, and let's see like if you're surviving or not. Like, it just kind of like gets to Because
on my last run,
but getting like 20 levels in a row in like 2 minutes did feel real good. I ain't gonna lie.
It's silly. On my last run, like, I kind of hit that point at 19 minutes where it's like, okay, I have everything.
Yeah.
Now I just kind of have to stand here for 11 minutes. So, like, it's not perfect, obviously.
No. Like, it's a very simple thing, and I think that even when a run can get boring like that, like, it's fine. It's still fine.
It's funny watching the numbers go crazy.
Yeah. And, like, dude, do you like chest animations? This game's got this game's is so satisfying, and it's just so simple. It's just like running up a number count for the gold you get and shooting beams of light out of the chest indicating how many treasures you get. I got a 5 boy during my run.
I was just about to say, on my last run, I got a 5, and I'd never seen anybody get that before.
Holy shit! Like,
moment of like, I didn't know that could happen.
I've never been that close to orgasm on stream before. It was so
That's saying
wild.
Something for your stream.
Exactly. But yeah, God, this game is just holy shit. Like, I don't buy into early access games either. So the fact that I picked this up, I think should say something. And it's like, look, again, $3.
It's $3.
And they are going to increase the price as they add more features, as they've said. So I think you get in on the bottom floor, and like, what do you have to lose if you don't like it, really?
Yeah, when I saw it was $3, I was just like, fucking add to cart, like, whatever.
It's such an easy buy. And then, like, the fact that it ended up being this fun, and kind of just thinking, like, well, what's in the future? Like, how do they add to this substantially? And, like, how do you put a bow on this and make it kind of feel like you're done? Because I feel that, like, this is a game that you could end up kind of maybe going a little overboard with.
Definitely. And I just think if they screw it up, like, I've had $3 of fun with what's there so far.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't matter to me, like, if they kind of go a bad way with it. Like, I know that, like, a lot of action roguelike devs tend to kind of pay attention to the bigger streamers like Northern Lion and stuff every now and again, and they start kind of, like, tailoring the game toward them. And that kind of just, like, that kind of took a lot of the wind out of the Binding of Isaac's sails for me, because I just, like, that's just, I don't want to always play thinking about the fucking meta, and that's basically what they kind of geared that game toward. Whereas the meta in this game is like, they're like, the only meta is really like find items that, like, when you level one
combos,
up, find the combos, or where, like, when you promote one to the next level, that gives you a cool synergy. Like, I got fucking scythes earlier, and it felt as cool as the first time when you get scythe tears in Isaac. I was like, oh my god, this is so dope.
That one specifically is just like, oh, this is just Isaac now.
Yeah, it really
like
felt
having
like
slices that pierce everything in 8 directions.
Yeah, this is just an absurd Isaac run now. Fantastic.
Yeah. God, can I tell a quick story about games playing to streamers, though?
Yeah, sure.
There was this mural in Spelunky 2 with, like, 5 faces on it, but they're all kind of animal faces.
Oh, no.
And I wondered for so long, I'm like, what does this represent? Are those bosses? Are those something I'm going to find later?
Oh,
and then after stopping playing the game, I realized, like, oh, this is just a reference to a bunch of streamers.
Yeah.
Like the lion face is there because Northern Lion. Like, oh, so like all the other animals are like based on streamers, and it's just like, why would you put that in the game? That's dumb.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that stuff.
What was that game where like half the NPC dialogue was fucking Kickstarter backers that you hated, Polly?
God! Oh shit! Was it Indivisible?
I think it was Indivisible.
Yeah, Indivisible. Indivisible had a lot of fucking NPC dialogue written by cringe ass Kickstarter backers. It was real bad.
Oof.
God.
Yeah. I mean, Indivisible was just bad anyway, but the Kickstarter dialogue made it even worse.
I like how Hollow Knight just has that one area with all the Kickstarter OCs.
Yeah.
And like even that, it's not that bad. You kind of figure out what it is, but it's not like super like cringe, I guess, offensive. But it definitely does kind of stand out once you realize like, oh that's what this is.
Yeah. Oi. But yeah. Vampire Survivors is really, really cool, and like Red said, even if they screw it up at this point, I've had my $3 of fun. I'm probably still going to be playing it. Like I want to at least unlock all the items. So yeah, I still got some time left in that game. I can't make a dent in the third area yet. That area it just came out and it's not balanced at all. So apparently like they just got a lot of work to do on it. So
I loaded that one. I was just like, this seems kind of fucked. People say it's really hard.
Yeah, you apparently like my friend Nox. She was in my chat when I was playing this morning, and she said it's basically assumed that you need all the permanent power ups to work to even get to even make a dent in it right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that. Like this is a game I think you want to get in on the ground floor with. It's $3. Like it's really fun. It's a good way to waste 20 or 30 minutes, and it just feels real good. Like once you get going, once your run gets going, and you're popping off damage all over the place, and you got spells going off, you got knives flying everywhere, you got fireballs. Like, dude, it's great.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like this is a game, definitely get in there and have
you
some fun.
Positive game experiences this app.
Yeah, definitely.
Games are good from everybody. Everybody was enjoying games this episode.
We did.
And we enjoyed a lot of games and Final Fantasy 9.
And Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 and Genshin Impact, they go in the dumpster.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, it's cool. It's cool that there's good experiences too.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't all bad. It would have probably been mostly nothing. Like and then like at least like
I know 3 days ago, Polly's like I kind of only have one thing, and then Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, then Vampire Survivors came out and just like, oh, this is so good. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I like the negative combos too. I like the whole spectrum of it. Yeah. I really liked hearing the Genshin Impact arc because I keep eyeballing it because they're so pretty.
Right, like that's the thing. So pretty. Like why designs that are so nice gotta be stuck in such a bad video game?
Or pre-rendered backgrounds that nice?
Yeah,
it's a grand tragedy.
Hey man, Dan Buru's free. You can go there.
June says the boys are so good. I wouldn't have had any way of knowing that they're boys in Genshin Impact.
Yeah, there's boys in Genshin Impact. There's good.
I know the boys from the porn as well.
There's yeah. Sean Chiplock plays a very, very good boy.
Oh really?
I like Diluc a lot. He's
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Vampire Survivors, everybody. Go play that. It's real good. Yeah. So, that a show?
I think that's a show.
You think that's a show? John Thayer.
Well, we always time it to end right around 9.
Right around 9. Like it's just we always have just enough energy in the tank. To talk for 3 hours. That's all you need. You don't need to be much longer. Unless it's a specialty episode of the show. Then you want to go like 8 hours, and then get the list wrong because we goofed up. That was good times, wasn't it? Like an hour after we're done, we realized that we've made a terrible mistake. Well,
hey, you know what?
Oh well.
I think it was fine.
It's totally fine.
Anyway. It was fine.
Yeah. Ain't nothing to worry
about. The world continued to spin on its axis.
It did,
despite us snubbing DuckTales.
Yeah, it's fun.
Of all the games
that get snubbed, it's like one of the ones that I'm most fine being snubbed.
It lived so the opposite of Rent Free in my head, where it was just like Koichi and Toho, where you see it but you do not perceive it.
Yeah,
it just ended up on the list twice, and it just head empty went right through me. I'm sorry.
It's all good though. It's all good.
That's the way forward way.
Exactly. Anyway, John Thayer, tell the fine internet folks at home where they can find you.
Farawaytimes.itch.io. I've got that new fucking ominous seal orb VN, and I changed the formatting based on an epiphany mid podcast that I am very pleased with now.
Nice. Rhett, where can the fine internet folks at home find you?
I'm here once again to tell you to watch Revue Starlight. I listened to the soundtracks twice since the last podcast. For the first time was just out of spite because Polly was like, "You don't like that series."
I still don't get it. I still don't get it, and I don't know that I ever will.
And then after the second time, I was just thinking of how, like, when I think about that story and those characters now, there's just nothing but warmth and good feelings.
Aww.
I'm happy that's the thing for you. I still just don't get it.
The movie's really good.
Right. Do you think it's just like, do you think that maybe your resistance to it was sort of resistance to that Utna style, and then like by the end of the movie, it's just like, okay, yeah, I kind of get this now? Or I don't know.
No, I think it's that the movie just really picks up and has a shitload of good music. Like, I don't know if Utna has the music.
I was trying to give you an out.
Yeah, I saw what John was doing there.
The movie is just much better. Well, I'm gonna.
I'm saying I love that series because of the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Like, you
linked that song, and I listened to that, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in this. Absolutely.
Because it's like, I see a world in which I like something more than Symphogear, where it's basically Symphogear with better music, or Revue Starlight with better everything else. But the music slaps.
Yeah.
But the Symphogear music is kind of sadly mid.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. All right. Cool. And you can find me at twitch.tv/polyhead or on Twitter at polyplushie. And at
socksmakepleplesexy.itch.io, where you have a brand new game.
Yeah, there's so many places you can find me. I'm all over the place. Mm-hmm. I'm
Playing
worldwide,
Vampire
baby.
Survivors.
And play Vampire Survivors. There you go. I'm all over the place, baby. But remember, until next time, we are the podcast that loves you. We are the only ones that love you. All right, I'm going to kick everybody on out of here. I'm going to go, let's see. We're going to go to, where are you streaming? Okay. A friend of mine is playing Devil May Cry 3.
Oh, hell yeah.
Luna's playing Luna's playing Devil May Cry 3, so I'm going to send you all on over there.
Cool. It'd be funny if somebody was playing Vampire Survivor.
I looked to see if there were, and they weren't, so. Yeah, we're going to get out of here, folks. Catch you next time. I will be streaming sometime this week, March 10th for sure. I got a stream for then that I'll be doing. Don't know if I'll be doing anything. There might be more Vampire Survivors, probably. If I feel like streaming it, that's probably what we'll end up doing. But thanks again, everybody. We'll catch you next time.